are live. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your AstroShaman, Pernell, Bobby. All right, we are here generating the world of harmony, leveraging astrology. And in order to do that, we bring in AstroBrie and her astrology tactics, some sidereal, some tropical today. She has done major research over the last week, and she's here to bring you the facts. AstroBrie, real quick, you mind giving us a little bit of like just yourself, like maybe like your top 3 zodiac signs, or the ones that you feel like you want to share?
For sure. I'm open. I'm an open book. I'm tropically speaking, I'm a very mutable person, but sidereally speaking, I'm very fixed. So being that I'm a Pisces, I like to flip back and forth. Pisces sun, Sagittarius rising, and a Libra moon is me. I also have Jupiter and Neptune conjunct in the very first degrees of Capricorn. So I am at that cusp of a millennial, right at the top of the millennials. And so I've studied Neptune really, really heavily because it's with my Jupiter, and Jupiter.
Neptune in Cap?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about Neptune in Cap? Just out of, I'm asking out for personal curiosity, to be honest.
So Neptune in Capricorn, it talks about how, as a generational planet, Neptune is a generational planet. It's spiritualism. It talks about where we let go of the material. So the fact that it came through Capricorn for our incarnation is really, really exciting, because we get to really let go of all of the boundaries of materialism. And that's why I believe millennials are so hyper spiritual. Anyone born between 84 and 98, I believe. They are the millennial generation, and therefore they have that Neptune and Capricorn energy.
I feel that the whole letting go of the materialism part, separate from Neptune and Capricorn, just through so many different modalities, I've seen that in my chart. Is that, just out of curiosity, is the background noise really loud? Is the city loud?
Honestly, I think it's fitting for the fact that we're talking about Venus in Capricorn, because there's an industry energy, and Venus, I know Mercury is transportation, but Venus is like cars. Venus is the prettiness of cars, right? So I think there's no coincidences. God.
Okay, cool. Because I was like, I definitely live in a city, so that is what it is. I mean, if I go inside, it can get super quiet, but I like the light. I rather the light. So. All right, what's going on? What's up with this Venus in Capricorn? It has entered today 0 degrees. I have had the astral plane, I could tell you, was buck the wild last night. Like, I mean, the stuff that was happening on astral plane, Jupiter, Piscean. You're a Pisces, so you can probably speak for it too. Pisces, Sagittarian themes. It's just like at 29, you know,
yeah,
between the square between Jupiter.
It's been insane. It's shifting us. It's pushing us. It's propelling us. Venus coming into Cap, as I explained to you just before we started talking, I have had, because I have Jupiter here. So any placements that you have Jupiter on, when Venus comes on top of it, it sounds like it's supposed to be some super beneficial transit. It can be. It
has that feeling, right? But it was like.
It's going to be expansive, that's for sure. It's definitely going to open you up, but depending on what sign it's in, it does different things. So when we talk about Venus being in Capricorn, you're really talking about the balance of karma. You're talking about the scales of karma really, really coming through. So being that Venus just moved into Capricorn, there's been a lot of shifting, and I believe we're going to see a lot of shifting in a legal sense as well. When I looked into the history of Venus being in Capricorn, especially in the seasons right after she had retrograded, so the years that she had retrograded, and then the next transit that she would have, which is almost every 2 years, she repeats her cycles. So there'll be a year where she's in your sign, and then the next year she won't be. And then the following year she will be. So when she retrogrades, the year after, she's not there, but the year after that she is, and she's kind of coming home to her newly renovated space. And as some of us know, Venus is really good friends with Saturn. They're buddy. They love each other because she is the scales and he is karma and time. They really work hand in hand. Venus is also the story of Venus is kind of crazy. So I don't know if you know about.
No, give us a little background. Give us a little background so we can better understand Capricorn separate as an energy from Venus. So give us a little background on the story.
Okay, so I believe it was Kronos. They called it Kronos in this story, but he was it's Uranus. Sorry, Uranus has, which is also Aquarian energy, which is also very Saturnian. It's the planet right after Saturn. He was castrated, and from his castration, his pieces were thrown into the ocean, and from the ocean came this big bubbly wave, this big foamy wave, and on the wave came Venus in the Ankh shell, which we see in classic art, right? So there is this energy of the father, which is Saturn and Uranus energy. They are one and the same, very much. Uranus being the original creator, Saturn being his first creation, Jupiter being the grandson. Venus is right in here. She's like brother sister with Saturn, okay? Because she came from the same parts that Saturn would have been created from as well, just in a different way. She is like our first story of a virgin birth that I can think of in like the Roman and Greco history, because there is no mother there. She is of the water. She is very masculine in that sense, which I think speaks to Venus energy being
exalted in Pisces.
Exactly with the waters, but also how there's this desire for pleasure and ease, which if you're projecting outwards that you want pleasure, you want your desires, you want to be lazy, you want to be calm, you want to have things just right and not have to work too hard. It may sound like a feminine frequency, but it actually comes off as quite masculine when you meet people who are in that frequency, and that's generally a sign of a debilitated Venus. A lot of people think that Venus has a hard time in Capricorn, but I see her doing really amazing things. Like I said, she's bringing the scales to father time. She's bringing the evenness. I personally had a whole bunch of stuff fall through in my experience in the last couple of days while Venus was in her last degrees of tropical Sagittarius. Things were starting to kind of fall through, and it seemed like everything was getting really quiet. But what I didn't know is that Venus was working behind the stage, and by the time she'd show up, I would be informed of all of these new balances, all of these new experiences. It's a little personal. I won't go too deeply, but family stuff goes big. Anything to do with grandparents and great grandparents and heredity and lineage. These are all Capricorn themes. Just like Cancer is these things, Capricorn is very much these things. And Venus is very much coming in to teach us about that.
Yeah, I actually really feel that, especially, I feel like this is forgotten a lot, that Libra is dignified in Venus, and that Libra is exalted in Saturn, which is the natural home planet, dignified in Capricorn, right? And I feel like everything you just spoke on is the relationship between Capricorn and Libra, or Venus and Saturn. And it's something that I feel like goes underrated a lot, because I feel like it's classic to hear of like Taurus and Venus.
Yeah.
But I feel like people have a hard time. I'm even going to go another step and say astrologers as a whole, because I feel like we're always learning. And I say I'm including myself in this, right? It's like, I feel like we have a hard time understanding, why does Libra give off this feminine energy, even though it is a very masculine presence? Like it is a very, very masculine presence. And so I feel like it goes under the radar a lot. And I've been putting a lot of energy on why is Libra exalted in Capricorn, and this is, in Saturn, in Saturn. Yeah. And that is where, my lens, my perspective, everything on this 29-degree square between Pisces and Jupiter, and as well as Venus and Sagittarius, it's like this mutation. Okay, which is really what I feel like those 29 degrees banging off in my dream phase last night, and all of us last night, right? This mutation often says, look, by time this mutates, whatever happened before the mutation, you can't even begin to predict or make any expectations after the mutation. It's like, that's the whole point of the mutation, so that nobody can predict or see what happens after, all we can do is trust, you know, and balance more deeply within ourselves, self-discipline within ourselves, so that we know we will be able to manage whatever the mutation is. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like whatever happens, however the world changes, however our perspective shifts, however our thoughts shift, even our spirituality and what we deem spirituality, what we value about it, all of it we're just gonna be okay as long as we're focusing on that inner, right? That inner space. So cool. All right.
So I did make some notes about the transits of Venus in Capricorn. Because I went all the way back to, like, I don't know if you know this, but like the Revolutionary War of 1771, that energy was Venus in Capricorn energy and a Venus retrograde, like how it popped off. That was all Venus retrograde and working with the generational planets, mind you. So there are a couple, like, and it's funny, my notes are so terrible. I talked to you about this earlier. When we saw the Venus retrograde of 1998, that is when we had the experience of Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton, which eventually would try to get him impeached.
Was that in Capricorn?
Yes.
Okay.
Venus Capricorn.
I just took the notes. I'm just showing y'all because Brie came in here with the facts today. So forgive my typing, forgive my spelling. I'm trying to like keep up with her and the knowledge today. So
when we saw that Venus retrograde come through, that, I mean, if you remember the story, Monica Lewinsky was a student. She was a what's the word again? The like apprentice. Who was like someone who was working almost for free for the president of the United States. And she worked for him when he was a governor, and she worked for him as a president. And she ended up getting into a sexual relationship with him. And that almost took down his presidency. During the Venus retrograde, and you can Google this, attack on Iran and Monica Lewinsky. He lined up the attack on Iran during the process of impeachment to gain favor of the people. Like, it was a super, super calculated situation. And that was all Venus working through Capricorn. Again, unpredictable stuff. Like, no one would have known he was going to do this Iran thing because it was like a left of center, but it really did work. It shifted the entire paradigm so that he didn't end up getting displaced from his position during that experience, which is
so let's talk about authority figures, right? Because Venus in Capricorn, you know, this is the big dick energy, right? Like, Capricorn is big daddy energy, but with mama's flavor, right? But it's like mama with two uncles, being Aquarius and Libra. So it's like mama has two brothers, right? Yep. Libra and Aquarius, and those brothers are savage, and you know, the mom is also in a way where, like, she's not, let's say Capricorn, she's not void of feelings. You know what I mean? She just intentionally represses them to say, hey, look, I know what's there, and I also understand why I'm going to deal with these emotions in my own time. I understand why I'm going to deal with it in private and not public.
That is totally the key word of Capricorn is time.
Time.
It's patience and time. And Venus being something that really likes to tap things at their own pace. Venus is the energy of personal timing, where Saturn is the energy of universal timing.
Yeah, universal, collective, yeah.
These two together, you have the universe working with you. You have the universe aligning to your own personal timing. And you are having that universal timing click in on a personal level. Like I said, I personally had this experience with some family drama this weekend, and it was like all of this timing is coming through so that parental responsibilities can shift and change as they need to sometimes.
I just want to show people this. I'm not going to tell them what I was talking about at first, at least in my mind. I'm going to keep the intention private, but this says groundedness,
gravity,
and you see all the animals.
I do.
You see all the animals. And just notice how the butterflies are actually carrying her. You know, this transformation is carrying us. Thank you for that thumbs up on Facebook. I see y'all out here. We're streaming right now on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So shout out to everybody. Family drama.
Honestly, it is. It is. It's meant to be shifting right now. The paradigms, the scales have come. Now, if you look at Libra energy, and like I love the Libra tarot card, which is justice. We had the woman holding the scales, traditional tarot woman holding the scales and holding the sword. The sword is the sword of truth. Okay, that is I hold it up because I don't need to wave it around. I just need to hold it steady, and everybody who needs to be intimidated will be intimidated because I hold the scales of the balance and I hold the sword of truth. That is Libra energy 100%. Libra energy doesn't scream and shout. I know the what is the word I'm looking for? The bad reputation, the stigma of Libra is to be slutty or fickle or to be like indecisive at the very least. However, if you think of this timing energy, this Capricorn exaltation and all of this alignment between Saturn and Venus, you get to understand that a true Libra energy isn't fickle at all. In fact, it's patient and it waits for what's right and it feels the vibration of things. This is the 7th house, right? So this is the first energy of being aware of all of the underneath as well as the on top. Okay. When you're talking about the first 6 houses, everything is internalized, everything is felt in a vibration of personal experience. Once you get to the 7th house and the 7th sign, you now are aware of self, other, and you know what I mean? You've got the whole identity, which is what like Aries kind of has this ability, being that they partner as a Libra. But when you've got that Libra experience, there's all of the indecision because of all the consideration that is happening. They're seeing all the 12 houses from there.
Yeah. I wanted to just tell people what this meant, you know, and this usually gives a little description, and it actually just says, quite frankly, it just says, seek a grounded perspective. That's like the simplicity of the card. It's literally the simplicity of the card. I mean, see the Earth, you know, in this instance, you see planets up top as well. You can kind of see the Earth being grounded. There's part of it that's completely covered. There's life, there's nature, right? Divinity, I'm even getting in a moment, that's surrounding us. Absolutely. That's allowing us to ground this new perspective. And I wanted to say all this because understand that, like, this mutation that has happened today is Venus in Capricorn. Today, after 29 degrees square. And that square is still squaring, right? Like, just because it went
it's gonna hold for a minute,
it's still squaring. It's still squaring.
And it'll move from a mutable square into a cardinal square, and that's the initiation phase. And
tell us about that. Tell us about what do we need to know about it going from a mutable, okay, Jupiter, Sagittarius and Pisces, to now a cardinal being Capricorn and Pisces. What's the shift?
So when we get that, it's the initiation phase. Mutable energy is the seasons that change. So we're talking about fall, we're talking about spring. These are the energies of things that are shifting from winter to fall, or from fall to winter, from spring to summer, from summer to fall, and then you get what I mean. That is the energy of mutable frequency. It's always Mercury based and Jupiter based. These are the energies that move around the most. Mercury does all the retrogrades, but Jupiter has the biggest transit and has, of the inner planets, has the biggest degree orb. When you're doing astrology and you're seeing how the planet relates and how long that transit holds, some astrologers equate Jupiter's transit to a 10-degree orb. That's a third of every sign that, while it's in that space, it's affecting. And so when you think of it that way, you think about Mercury having all of these retrogrades so often in the year, and Jupiter being able to hold a changing frequency for as long as it does. That gives us an idea of why these are the mutable planets, why these planets were aligned to these types of changing season energies. And once the changing season is done, which takes the longest of all of the things, we move into this energy of being able to start something brand new with the development of what we learned through the fixed and then the mutable shift.
You know, when you said that, you brought me to One, I absolutely agree. And it's something that today I just learned from your perspective why I'm going to personally expand my own Jupiter orb degree, like of how and how long something might be impacted or affected and how long it has to change. So thank you. I want to say thank you for that tremendously. And what you brought me to next was that Neptune takes about what, 14 years to orbit?
Depending on the sign, yeah.
So another far out planet, another mutable, right? Like scientists are still looking at it like they can't discover what kind of water it is, and it just keeps a water that keeps mutating. Or it's not even actually water, but it's the closest thing that we can start to describe because it can go from like a solid form to a water form, an icy form, a foggy form.
Everybody should read this book. Everybody should read this book. This is one of my favorite astrologers. I'm a student of his. I've taken his course, the evolutionary astrology courses.
What's his name?
Stephen Forrester. He's one of those 1970s, 1980s astrologers that's still kicking around because he's got lots of good Capricorn placements. And I actually, my TikTok isn't that popular. AstroBrie, by the way. My TikTok isn't that popular, but the ones that are popular, I'm reading from his books because they're Bibles to me. He really explained how Neptune is and what it is and why it is this ethereal evolution of Venus, which is really what it is. Like Neptune really holds that evolution of Venus, which is part of the reason I was so excited to talk about this, is because I have Jupiter in Capricorn and Neptune in Capricorn conjunct. When Venus comes on top, I'm getting spiritual downloads on an unfiltered basis. And therefore it's a great time for me to talk about these kinds of things.
No, that
Forrester also wrote the book of Pluto, which if you haven't read it, you need to read it. He breaks down the experience of what Neptune is and how there is this, what he calls leaky energy, which is how Neptune doesn't have walls. There's no boundaries with Neptune. So when you have a Neptune placement, it's going to, like Jupiter, have a wide orb, but also it's gonna filter onto everything that's around it and kind of touch on everything around it. So say you were to have a Mercury and Neptune alignment, whether it be a positive one or a negative one, that will leak over to your Mercury houses. It'll leak over to your Virgo house, your Gemini house, in the most beautiful, spiritual, unpredictable ways.
So you're making me look up my own chart real quick. I'm like, hold up, because I know I have a Neptune aspect, but I wanna kind of like I wanna briefly go into it and just see. All right, what's my okay? Wow. Yeah, it's smack on my ascendant, my part of fortune, and my Pluto.
I know. I looked at your chart.
Yeah. I forgot. Yeah, I just knew it. I was like, wait a minute, where exactly? So there's a sextile on top of those three, and then it's squaring all of my Aries, Sun, Moon, and Mercury.
Intuition is really what he equates to Neptune energy. Having a generational intuition, like your parents intuitively knew things, but also as intuition, addiction, especially when it comes to alcohol. Okay. Yep. I'm the chain breaker in my family. My father was a heroin addict, which is another liquid form of Neptunian energy.
Yeah.
My mother was an alcoholic. So I'm the chain breaker on that one, but it was generations before me. It is no coincidence that I have Jupiter, which is the philosopher and the sage, and purifying my Neptune energy, and Capricorn at 0 degrees. Like I have it right now. I have Venus right on my crap right now. And it's because of this experience of learning astrology, diving deeply into my chart, recognizing how Neptune leaked kind of onto everything. That generational curse of being able to spiritually be understanding of the fact that none of this is really real. It's all a mental projection. And that's why people hide in the drugs, especially the liquid-based drugs. Now, also my other favorite when I was younger, before I got in front of any of this, my other favorite was another liquid-based drug. I did it was almost always liquid-based, but it was LSD, which is another very Neptunian type of frequency. These drugs all have one thing in common. They affect the part of our brain that also affects our psychic abilities.
And our perception of reality.
And once I dropped those things, I was able to bring up my gifts and honor them properly. And now that's actually what I do for a living, is I'm a professional psychic online. But I had to drop those things. My grandmother, my mother, my father, my great-grandmothers, they all had the ability. But because of society's placement of Capricorn, not having Neptune there, their Capricorn was the old-fashioned, strong foundation, where my Capricorn had Neptune coming in, making all the walls go like wookie, you know? Like it's like I was born with LSD in my eyes. That's what it's like to have Neptune right at 0 degrees Capricorn. I was also born addicted to heroin and went through withdrawals as a child.
It makes sense, you know, with the Capricorn, like it's just right in your ancestry, right, born into your generational line.
Absolutely.
Born directly into born right into. Wow. So you know, with this being said, and we're gonna shift back into like how Mercury is also in Capricorn and it's gonna go shadow in like what 2 days or something like that.
Yep, we're gonna start the year in a Mercury retrograde.
We're starting the year in a Mercury retrograde, but I think we standardly do. I think it's pretty standard. Like last year we did as well. But this one is I feel like this one's a little different because last year we had Venus retrograde at the same time. Yes. And it doesn't happen every year. So it was Venus in Capricorn last year, or this year still technically. Yes. In like January, we started it with the retrograde.
Actually, during that time, that's when we had in Canada here, we had what was called the trucker convoy, which is where the governments had, this is so Mercury and Venus being together and retrograding together in Capricorn. So truckers, like big 18-wheeler truckers, did a massive protest of masks and vaccinations. Mm-hmm. Vaccinations being a Neptunian thing as well. That they protested until the government literally put in what's called an emergency act, which hadn't been erected in decades. And they started pulling their abilities, their business licenses, their tax money, and putting the leaders of these parties, these people, in prison. Our prime minister actually called some of these people Nazis. And to like the polarization was insane. Granted, he's got a lot of Aquarius in his chart and he's a Leo rising. So there was a lot going on, but it was very much of the perfect example of Venus being retrograde through Capricorn saying, you know what, I don't believe this is not balanced. This is not balanced. And then Mercury retrograding at the same time. Venus being providing things and providing ease. Also, Venus also is commerce. And these are truckers. So like we're talking about transportation of commerce and all of that being retrograde, landing on Canada's Capitol Hill and protesting in front of the government offices. It was so perfectly fitting for the astrology. Like it was just mind blowing to me.
Mm. No, this is major. You know, so there are two things that are coming up in my mind. One, we just traded with Russia. Brittany Griner and a Death Merchant.
Yep.
The Lord of War. Nicolas Cage played the movie in Lord of War. And I don't know the guy's name specifically.
Apparently we had him and like nobody knew that we had him too. Like a lot of the like governments never made it public that the US had him. He was missing in action for the longest time, but apparently he was in their prisons in America the whole time.
So and this is what you know, I feel like this matters because this happened like right on the full moon, on Gemini full moon. Media and the moon reveals, right? So we revealed what was private at the 16th degree of Cancer. Like these things were private prior. These things were literally private. It was Cancerian. It was like it was hidden, literally. And it's like Biden gave the green light.
But how many times had Russia said, "We know you have him"? Give him.
Oh
blood.
yeah.
And the US just said, "What are you talking about?"
And that's just that part is like obvious now. I mostly want to look at like, how do you feel with this Venus and Capricorn transit? Might this play into the narratives of impeachment?
So
because Capricorn is public status, right? It is the authority, it's like a president figure. So how does this merge in with this event that just happened on the full moon in Gemini?
So when when the papers came through, and I'm probably going to slaughter her name, so I'm just going to say, the older lady that used to be the head of the Supreme Court in America. I can't remember her name, brown hair lady. When she applied the papers that would take Trump out, it was approved in the Supreme Court that they would try to impeach him. That was during a Venus in Capricorn. The Venus in Capricorn that came before that, Trump was in presidency, and there was something really interesting that kind of blew up my mind, and I went down a little rabbit hole of a spiral lesson. 40 years is Venus's transits. Okay, that's her her flower that she makes is 40 years. 40 years before Trump was President Reagan.
Right.
And during President Reagan's reign, Iran had done what was called the hostage crisis. This was during a Venus in Capricorn and Venus in Sagittarius. It was a longer transit, but there were 54 hostages taken. And when Trump was in presidency, he actually got in, the democracy around him got really upset with him because he was putting a bunch of tariffs on Iran. And he specifically said, I'm doing 54 of these for every one of those hostages that you guys took 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's a Mason, and Masons worship me. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was all based in astrology, predetermined, based in astrology by his advisors. I'm pretty sure he's a Mason. I don't think it's public knowledge if Trump is a Mason, but I'm pretty sure he is. And everybody knows that the Masons worship Venus energy, the star of Venus. That's why they have the black and white floor. That's why they there's a bunch of things about the geometric shapes and the G and the rest of it. It's all based in worshiping of Venus cycles. And 40 years is no accident. So yeah, there was a whole rabbit hole. I was like, what?
Yeah. We can get into so many rabbit holes. There was another impeachment, around this transits like this. Was it Reagan?
Yeah, so Reagan was also he
with the Watergate, no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was that not the same thing around a Venus and Capricorn type transit?
Yes, it was.
And again, remember, y'all, Capricorn is the highest powers. It's literally big dick energy, right? It's presidents, it's world leaders.
Yeah.
It's who we consider celebrities. And understand what's happening with this perspective shift. We're not able to celebrate celebrities and world leaders more than ourselves anymore. We're not able to, buy the materialistic vision and media narrative that is saying this is what we should believe in, or this is what we should see as powerful. A lot of this is actually starting to kind of mutate in order for us to start to see not just ourselves as powerful, but for the purpose of restoring the power back to the one, okay, yep. To the collective one.
Yes.
Rather than us essentially selling our respect, because Capricorn is respect type energy, right? So us selling our respect to stars, celebrities, presidents, people, Capricorn type power, we can no longer keep selling our souls to these people who we are noticing on things like this full moon in Gemini. We're noticing very clearly right now, that these celebrities are in pocket, okay? They are so paid off, so deep. They Kanye West is one of the people that kind of really blew this up for a lot of people, where he's showing how many people are embracing the materialism, okay, shutting up, knowing all about this, and deciding to just bend over backwards. I mean, I don't even know what to say.
Shout out to Ocean's Mirror. She's one of my homegirls, and she's an amazing astrologer. She and I were talking about the Kanye thing, and I may have predicted this 6 months ago when 6 months ago I was looking at the transit of this Mercury retrograde that we just passed, and I Googled when it had happened before, and that's when Kanye took the thing and was like, Beyonce should have won this. That was a Mercury retrograde right on top of his placements, and this one was going to do the same. So I made like a little TikTok, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure Kanye is going to pull some more shit. I did not think it was going to get this big. I did not think it was going to get this. I didn't look that hard into it, but I did have that feeling like this one was for him. So yeah, like shout out to Ocean's Mirror. She mentioned to me, she was like, do you not think Kanye's onto something, like making sure that he don't have to pay no child support? Like he has to. I was like, oh, like because everybody's dropping him, right? So his income's going down. So she like, Kim can't ask for the same amount of child support that she would have when he was making all that money. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much goddamn sense.
Shifted perspectives. And you know what's so crazy about this? When I looked into it more, I realized how he strategically got all that money to drop. Like, in a way, like, he played the narrative very strategically because he couldn't get out those contracts on his own. He needed them to kick him out.
Yeah.
He needed them to kick him out. And the timing of it all is quite frankly angelic. You know what I mean? Like,
I completely agree.
The timing of it all is super angelic.
Things to make sure that these things happen, and it's funny because like I told you this before. Like I went to school. I went to an alternative school when I was younger. And one of my teachers was the son of a Nazi. Like he had actually come to Canada after the war. The guy was born during 1945. And he was my philosopher and my teacher. And he was a hippie. He was like completely liberal, absolutely despised everything that his father had done. But he'd lived and experienced it. And so I had a whole different kind of perspective about how the Nazis got to that kind of power. And a lot of it was like diving into the fact that their country was so desperate. They were so poor after World War I. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you know this, but like most of Germany was not in a good state physically because of the war in World War I. All of their forests were like completely disaster. There were a lot of mountain people back then. There was a lot of people who actually lived in the mountains and lived in the countryside, and none of them were surviving. There were families just famine all over the place. And because of that desperation, that's why the Nazi Party was able to swoop up so much popularity so quickly and gain so much power. It was the desperation frequency. And a lot of people didn't talk about that for a really long time. And learning from him as like being raised by Nazis and being explained to him how that happened from that perspective gave him a way of looking at the government in a much more like specific way. And I went to a school where, yes, it was a public school in Canada. It was funded by the taxes of Canada. But he would tell us, like, do not believe everything your government says just because it's your government.
Yo,
me, I'm the son of a Nazi, and I was like,
yo,
okay.
So I dated maybe 3 German women in my life, and honestly, most of them are just all scholars, but one more than the rest. If I'm just thinking, not even trying to make a comparison, but one was like a scholar, like she really loved to study, right? And she spoke a lot about a shifted perspective, okay, which is what this mutable energy between Sag and Pisces is doing on a global collective scale of like foreign freedom, right? And Nikola Stanovich, one of those astrologers who got bopped, okay?
Oh my God, I'm so glad you showed me his stuff.
His shit is amazing. His shit is amazing. He spoke about Hitler's chart. You'll see it on that same link. He talks about Hitler's chart. He's like, look, first off, if Hitler had launched this war more in the summer versus like 3-4 months later, they would have won that war. For starters, okay, just astrologically speaking from a theoretical standpoint. But I give that as like background pre-context where he's in Aries, first off, right? And we all see how Aries can have like that tyrant energy. If it doesn't choose the innocent path, quote unquote, it can be tyrant energy. Yet, when I look at this, and I'm not going to go too deep because I need to have more scholars on this particular topic speaking to kind of help back what's being said now. So I'm gonna try to keep it broad in general because I understand this is Venus in Capricorn, right? We're in a public scale. People get super sensitive around these topics, so you got to come super correct. But what one of these scholars were saying is that a lot of people really truly did support Hitler because he was listening to the people. He listened to what they needed and what they wanted. At the end of the day, he was only the public figurehead.
Yes.
He wasn't really the sincere mastermind, quote unquote, behind what was going on. He was just the pin man, yes. Right? He's the face that everybody needed to remember. He's not the one that truly set the direction. Because remember, Aries itself, Libra is who sets like strategic plans of how we're going to go. Well, Aries is just a warrior.
Yes.
Aries is just the one that just goes to bat with the sword, if you will, and takes orders like a soldier more so. So it's like, who are the Capricornian, who are the Libran masterminds behind that? So that's a whole different story.
And the Cancers.
And the Cancers, exactly.
Really popular with women. He was extremely popular with German women. His like the Nazi political social party.
Yep.
It was extremely popular with women because he spoke to nurturing the family. He also, like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there was a lot of magic involved with that whole thing. Like he did speak on magics, and there was a lot of study. There was a lot of focus on education. Hi, Keisha. There was a lot of focus on education when it came to that movement. Mm-hmm. And it was to educate the people, like, because they felt so weak and they felt so lackluster of life after World War I that they needed to be inspired, that they were powerful again. So he gave them faith and he gave them education. Yeah. And to them, that was like, wow, you're actually like instilling things that we can take with us and move with us.
The necessary things, like necessary things. So again, like, I'm going to leave it like that for now because I know that there's going to be a couple more years before it starts, before other, like the world can start to begin to embrace some simple truths about the whole Hitler age and Hitler era.
Well, and like, it's so much easier to blanket and say there's a bad guy.
Oh yeah. And it's just not, I can say simple as this. It's not that clear. That's not simple.
It's not that.
It's nowhere near that simple. First off, good and bad is already a perspective. It doesn't matter if I think somebody is good and the next person think they're bad. There can be simple two truths. And this is what this Gemini full moon is also starting to help reveal to us, that in the private thoughts of our own mind, just because somebody doesn't say something, they keep their thoughts and the communication is private, does not mean that some people are not agreeing with you or disagreeing with you, and neither one matters. That's the whole point behind mutable energy. It's going to change. It will mutate. There will be a day where people will basically have to stuff their face with the words that they said at one point, and then realize that that's still not bad. Like, look, it's like before I know something, and then when I know something, and then when I realize that I didn't know something, and then I learn more about something. Each of those are 4 different stages, and each of them were true at the time frames that they were true.
Yeah.
They were all, and this is one of the things that I feel like as a globe, we're starting to, what was it, in 2021, when we had the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sag. This is when like the whole...
My nodal placements, it was a return for me.
Oh, wow, that's super dope. So that's one of the things right away where it's like the whole notion that there can only be a single one religious or dogmatic truth rather than multiple truths and multiple perspectives that are valid at the same time. That stuff was done in 2021, which opened up the gateways, opened floodgates for us to kind of get back now to this Venus and Capricorn message. I was getting off kilt real quick. So
you go right ahead and go all the way off, because that's how this works. Okay, that's how.
Let's do it.
Handling messages.
I see Secret loves your hair. I do too. Yo, the photo you sent me on the cover photo of this, bomb. That junk is bomb, yo. I was like, ooh. Makes me want to kind of like do one of my hair through your hair, fingers through
your
hair.
Your hair looks fabulous.
Hey, what's up, Amber? How you doing? Keisha,
there's some notes that I wanted to say. There's certain energies that I want to say, like if anybody who's born in 88, you're about to pop off. Okay, you're like, it is. You guys are main characters for this whole evolution, this whole energy frequency. So in 1937, Saturn came through while Venus was retrograding. Okay, it happened again in 88, and then it happened again, and it will happen again in 2027, I believe. Hold on, I have to make sure of that on my notes here. I'm so disorganized. It's Pisces. Sorry. No, it's not there. Oh, here we go. So, it was. So Uranus in Capricorn. These are the people these are the millennials that have the hyper awareness of how to reinvent the system. Basic Neptune in Capricorn, all millennials from 84 to 98. We are all supposed to be undoing the system. That's our job. But the ones with Uranus as well, so 88 to 98, these guys, okay, specifically 1988, who had Saturn, and so 88 February to June had Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune all together. You guys are actually supposed to rewrite the system. You create the new system that didn't exist before, and it's going to be something very insane to do with communication. The reason I say communication is because with Saturn and Venus working together, and then this Venus retrograde, Saturn energy tapping in both Capricorn. This happened a couple of times. And when it happened, the first time was 1937, and we got the walkie-talkie. In 88, internet chat. And we're about to have it again from May 24th, 2025 to September 2025. We will have some new burst of kind of communication that has never existed before. And I believe it's going to be this Neuralink, like telepathy energy of being able to access our internal telepathy and somehow make it systematic. So like it's somehow robotic, because it starts with the walkie-talkie in 37 and then the internet chat in 88. And we're about to have that transit hit us again May 24th, 2025. So I don't know.
What's magic about what you said? And I've been talking about one of the ones I've been following myself is in 2025 when Neptune hits Aries.
Yeah.
So
the head,
like literally ramming through past all of the disillusion, because Pisces can get very foggy. You know what I mean? It can literally just make something up out of just pure idealism. You know, just out like it wants a world with less suffering. It can just make it up.
And it happens. It's insane. Yeah, I know. I had to come to terms with the fact that like all Pisces, including myself, we sit on the line of psychosis and magic.
No, so I can attest to this as well. So my sun and my Mercury are both third decan, right? They're both Jupiter aspects. Mm-hmm. But it's in fire signs, so more Jupiter on the Sagittarius side for starters. Yeah. Yet I'm still 24 degrees on both those same placements, which is now Pisces. So what am I saying? Everything you were speaking about earlier about literally drugs and disillusioned and realizing that like how addictive drugs can be and how much they can literally separate me from reality to the point where pretty much all my life, if I'm being honest, I have not lived in an objective reality. Though I have the capabilities, most of that, I have not lived I lived in a very subjective fantasy land. It is the simple truth. I mean, literally, but the thing is, I found tremendous value for it. This is what, again, the whole changing and shifting of perspectives. Like, I found tremendous value of such things because, again, we are Neptune in Capricorn generation, which means we have to dissociate from reality to an extent so that we can get through the boundaries and borders of the Capricornian mountain, the mountaintop of systems that have been ingrained into our generational ancestry. I found that it's been critical. You know, when you think about it, like the LSD era leading up to us being, Uranus in Capricorn, all of that needed to happen for us to distort this physical 3D reality. Yeah. And to remind us as well, this is why starseeds and intergalactic talk and astrology, all this has become so much more of a phenomenon in the more modern years, because it's like we actually have the ability, at least enough of us with a large enough voice, large enough platform, large enough influence, to actually, in a sense, convince people that this 3D realm is a simple construct.
Yeah.
And, you know, we needed science, if you think Aquarius, right? We need the high science to start to be able to prove to us that if I move fast enough, you can't see my hand in the middle, right? I can literally evaporate anything. And so what I'm realizing is, as we do this as a collective, as we do this in the tens of thousands, tens of millions, right, in the billions, we will literally, this cup, if at least 5 billion of us decide that teacups don't exist, it will disappear. It will disappear. It will literally evaporate. And it's like high science, let's say Aquarius, when Pluto goes into Aquarius as well, which is next year, it's going to start helping us to transform from a perspective even above the monetary, the finances, the systems, the structure, from a physical standpoint, and allow us to start to conceptualize, you know, a more far out vision, something beyond the original boundaries, and still kind of like cooling off the fires from the outer boundaries, so we don't go too far, right? So not too soon, not too far too soon. That's the key part.
So I wanted to hit on one more thing. So in Chinese astrology, Capricorn energy is the rat. Jupiter is the transit of the 12 years that moves things, okay? And when it hits Capricorn, it's in the rat phase. The rat energy is of super focus, determination, but agile, quick thinking abilities. Also power in numbers, okay? A lot of people see goat energy or Capricorn energy as being like a standalone person. No. You don't get to the top unless you have a team working with you, propping you up. You have somebody with you or some people's with you to get yourself to that elevation. It is not I stand alone type of energy. A lot of people think it's Saturn is like that, but it's not. This is in relation to Libra because it's cardinal. So it is not alone. It's not this Aries energy. It's past the Aries energy. It's past the Libra energy. Now we're working as a team.
It's all three.
Yeah.
Think of Aquarius is 11th house.
Yes.
This is the friends you really want to have. This is like true friendship. This is friends that actually support what makes your goals unique.
Exactly.
Somebody has said up here somewhere, I think it was your girl, Keisha.
Yeah.
She's like, don't worry, I don't think we have an AstroShaman yet. This is 11th house, right? Like, this is like, damn, like, this isn't my third grade friend. This isn't my childhood friend, right? Yeah. Like, this is my internet friend. Yeah. Who actually supports my unique DNA.
Keisha is one of my OG clients for like 3 years now. And we've been working together through her astrology, through her generational energies of breaking through. So there's another 84 baby there. That honestly, like the beginning of Neptune, and we are just the reason I can speak on Capricorn the way I can, and it will relate to so many people who are of an age younger than me or of my age, is because it's at 0 degrees. I can speak on the generational hit. Yeah. That is the experience. But I'm telling you, it's the 88 babies that are going to change the goddamn world. They are building the new world.
Do you know what degree they were?
I can give you dates.
So I'm 91 and I'm 16th degree.
91 is important too, but Saturn dipped in the first time for 6 months from February to June. And it was with Neptune and Uranus coming together. They hadn't come together yet. Saturn came there and then it passed it. So the retrograde, when it hit all three of them with Venus, was between February and June 88. 80 to 91, of course, that is important, impactful too, but it's February to June 88. There is something about these kids that when I look at those charts, I'm telling you, they're going to create the new world, the new systems of government, the new systems of law. Like they are the new Capricorn frequency that comes through. Because the old one was destroyed. 2020 killed the old ways. It is done. That major conjunction that we had at 22 degrees Capricorn, it slaughtered everything. We had Pluto there. We had the eclipses. We had Mars. We had Saturn there and Jupiter all at the same time. Whatever used to be Capricornian is absolutely destroyed now.
All right. So this is This is December 10th.
Mm-hmm. You see what I mean?
88.
Look at all that. Look at all that energy.
So we're talking Neptune now.
Yep.
They're about 9 degrees.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so they were shifting what we can see.
And Uranus had just moved in there too, and
Exactly.
Saturn is there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they were shifting what we can see, like at the almost back in 84. So when I see this, it kind of feels like you were 84 and you began at 0 degrees Neptune, right?
Yep.
In Capricorn. And by 88 is at 9 degrees where you were there and y'all had enough time for the perspective about what is physical, necessary, you know, how these authority figures like have come into a certain sense of power.
I literally started school. I started school. So before that, just a little background, my parents were drug dealers and movers. My father had us moving drugs and heroin and whatever from Jamaica all through the States, living in a van. Sagittarius rising, South Node on the rising. But when I turned 4, my father went to jail and I went to kindergarten and we moved into a house and I ended up living in a garage with my mom for a few months while I was in junior kindergarten. So like all the authority came down and all the stability came down all at once in 1988 for me. But again, I'm a 0 degrees baby. My 0 degrees sun, 0 degrees Neptune, 0 degrees Venus. Like I'm 0 degrees. I hit everything at the generational mark. So when stuff happens to the outside world, there's some sort of reflection at home that's on a micro level that's just ridiculously coincidental. It used to make me paranoid. Now I just accept it and I'm grateful.
So this Venus in Capricorn now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take a brief 30-second dance break. I want everybody to get ready to just go ahead and move and shake your body. I'm gonna take Brie and myself off camera. I'm gonna show you our little, halftime break. We meet up every Sunday, not this Sunday. The astrology membership. Anybody want to learn astrology at a deeper level? We meet up every Sunday, every first and third Sunday. So only twice a month. All right. And so I'm gonna actually throw some music on here, and I want to have everybody take a little movement break because we digesting a lot of information right now. So I want to just say, give it a moment, and then ready. I'm about to turn y'all on some lofty.
Amazing.
Wait. You gotta vote. Okay. How do I? Okay, man. All right. I had to take a little movement break. You know what I'm saying? I had to take a little movement break. Oh, wow, we got a lot of stuff coming through. Let's see what's in the chats. Let's see what's happening. Well, literally it says it's happening. What's up, Keisha? I already see people coming into their skin more and more. Absolutely. Capricorn is the skin. Oh, let me bring you back, Brie.
Hey!
Hey now. I see already coming to the skin, that alignment after the separation from legality. Yep. From everything we are fed. The actual food. Yeah. I'm hearing all that. Okay, what we got?
That is our generational path. Is that we have to redefine the system.
Being fearless and what's good for them. I'm telling you, wait till 2025. The fearlessness when Neptune goes into Aries. Oh,
I'm really lucky. I have 2025. I will be a new moon in Aries, progressed. So I'm very
no crap. Your progress sign?
Yeah.
I got a moon in Aries. I gotta tell you, I love it. I love it. Every sign, it has its own versions of complications, right? Like as you grow, it's but the thing is, you coming into it progressed rather than born, you already have a certain emotional intelligence that, I would say one that's born with it, it's there's not a lot of emotional development, right? It's Aries, it's the first one through in the moon. It's a very immature emotional.
Honestly, it's my 5th house, so I'm super, super excited because my sun's already there. I've already progressed into an Aries sun, and if you haven't done progressed charts, it's highly recommended to help.
I highly recommend it. I feel like some astrologers are like, they're like, when they hear about it, they're like, "And I'm gonna do that." I'm like, bro, that's your loss. Personal opinion, I'm like, that's your loss, because when I tell you my mind be like overlapping without even having to look at charts, it just be overlapping, like, okay, this year, last year, next year, current, and it's like it can kind of make this timeline, and it helps me to really structure, like,
every 2.5 years, we go through something, we shift through something, and we change into a new evolution of ourselves, which makes sense. We're not the same people. They say that, like, I think it's every 7 years on a cellular level, we're a completely new person.
Uranus, 7 years it takes to shift. Every 7 years, debunked. That's we seen that. We used to hear that in science a long time ago. Every 7 years we change. Guess what, guys? That's Uranus. That's Uranus. It takes 7 years to rotate. Okay. Yes. I'm already moving. Yes. So let's get back into this cat message. What I want to have you do is take your hands with me. Let's do a little EFT. All right, let's do a little emotional freedom tapping. Get some of these emotions in the body. Tap on these meridian points. You have one at the top of your head. You have them on your cheekbone. You have them at your temples. You have it underneath your lip right here. Your tap underneath your lip. You have one across your chest plate. So I kind of dig in this one because your chest is a little bit harder, right? Like, so I dig in my 4 fingers. And then take a soft inhale. What I like to do when I kind of exhale is I try to tell people like school bus missed. So when you inhale, first off, you shouldn't. I did that too. I try to like exaggerate so you can see I'm breathing, but in reality, your breath should be silent, right?
Yes.
And now my belly is expanding rather than my chest. And so then open your mouth and like school bus missed, like you're getting ready to draw hearts on the window of a school bus. And when you just let it out. Boom, knees, good, beautiful. If you ever have back pain, you can take 2 fists here. You have your kidneys.
I have a Libra moon, so I always have kidney pain. Like,
Yep.
I have to be so careful about what I eat, honestly.
Oh God, I had to learn it for myself too, because I'm not sure if have you ever dived into human design?
I have. I actually. So I have some pretty harsh Scorpio placements. I have Mars and Saturn conjunct in the 12th house. Okay, and the full sign. So for me, I have to know how. When I learn something, I have to know the how. And when I dug into human design and I realized it's based on astrology, but the way that they mathematically pull that together is being purposely hidden, it pissed me off.
So at first, it pissed me the hell off too, because I was like, I was living in Bali like 3 years ago or something like that, and all the entrepreneurs, all the Europeans, all the Americans, they were like eating human design up, and I never got in it. And they all hid how they were coaching people. No one said, I'm using human design. They just like, oh, I found this system. I'm going to become the best coach, make a crap ton of money. No one's going to know how. And I kind of saw that like 3-4 years ago, right? My point is, something was kind of fishy. It was off for me. You know? That I couldn't fully explain up front. So I just didn't really dive deep. I didn't dive deep. And then later, I realized exactly what you said. That they're kind of like disguising that astrology has such a huge role. Like, it's based on astrology. Like, come on, y'all. Like, just be real.
Just show me how do you do the math, and so I can do the math. Because I'm all about the fact that I could put it in and it populates information for me. But I want, like, when I look at a natal chart, I know what these degrees and these lines mean, and I can take it to the geometrical understanding of when you sit opposite from someone at a table, you're understanding an opposition. You know what I mean? When you sit at a 90-degree angle from somebody at a table, you're getting a different perspective than when you sit opposite of them or when you sit beside them. Okay, you get a different perspective. When you sit beside somebody and you have a conjunction in the way that you're relating to someone, you can hear things that other people around the table couldn't possibly hear because you're sitting right beside them. That explains how a conjunction works versus an opposition where you really have to use your words and watch the person speak in order to understand. But still, you're only getting the perspective they're projecting out to you. You're not able to see what they're seeing because you're seeing it from the opposition, right? When I got into human design and I started looking at it, they weren't explaining to me how they got these doors, how they got these gates.
Let me ask you this. Do you have the program on the back end?
No. That's the thing. I've been trying to get, like, give me the actual program, then I'll look into it because I
didn't get the program for myself. It was gifted to me. And that, I'm so happy that I didn't spend a lot of time trying to break my brain on it early, because I kind of like let it go and it came back to me like freely, if you will. When I got the program, I'm like, things started just like, I'm realizing, so if you see the human design chart, first off, you have your conscious planets, which is your regular astrology chart, right? So I'm an Aries sun, moon, Mercury, cool. But then you have another side that says your unconscious planets. It's one of my favorite parts. And I realized, like, it's skipped. It's not really talked about in human design. Just because we know astrology, we're going to understand it. Where I have an unconscious Aquarius moon. That began to change a crap ton for me, rather than thinking that I have a natal Aries moon. Well, it's like, it gets buck wild. Same thing with Jupiter, for example. My Jupiter is in Leo. Yeah. But my unconscious Jupiter is also in Leo. So that had another twist. It's like, wow, so I'm consciously and unconsciously acting from this planet with the same signal. Yeah. And it, all I can say is it's starting to do this.
Starting to make sense.
It's starting to fuse, starting to synthesize. And I know for a fact that it's going to be a little bit of how I start teaching astrology moving forward. It's going to take some time because there's a lot. You're
an 88 baby. You're going to create something that's never existed before.
That's what's happening.
You're part of this. You're part of the energy of making. I'm really lucky. I have Uranus in the South Node right on my ascendant, so I can see the gods. I've clear view vision right out my eyes. I can predict when someone's going to be impactful and purposeful. Very lucky that way. And I can tell you, when I first saw your work on YouTube, I was like, yeah, that one's going all the way. He's going all the way. And the more I talk, the more it makes sense. You're going to create something that has never existed before, and it will become
It's going to happen.
It will become the standard.
I'm excited about it.
That's Capricorn. Capricorn is the standard. It is the legacy. It is the standard, right? So that 88 energy is the generational planet saying new standard.
You know, when you say that, it's funny. I dated a girl who was born in, I dated a lot of people who was born in 88. When I think about it right now, I'm like, wait a minute. I dated a lot of people born in 88. So, but you know, when you say it, it's just like I'm getting this and you know some of my background enough where you can kind of like make sense of what I'm about to say next. Like clear cognizance, I think the word. I'm getting this like super clear knowing of like, oh crap, me dating those 88s, as you speak on it today, it was revealing more than what meets the eye. Oh yeah. In my own conscious like awareness. Yeah. But right now, those data points, those Gemini data points, they're going like this. They're like
well, every relationship, and like I can speak on this because I'm a Libra moon. Every relationship you ever have is meant to teach you about yourself. It's meant to reflect, like if you're actually attracted to someone, it is going to be based in ego because that person is mirroring back to you the parts of yourself that you do like. And when you start to not like them, guess what they're mirroring? They're mirroring parts that you don't like. That's what relationships are for. They're meant to teach you about yourself. Like obviously there's like the twin flame journey or whatever. That's more specific about the pain and the trauma that you've experienced. But there are many relationships that you're going to have in your life that are going to teach you about how you are a student and how you are a teacher. And I think for you, at least, where's your Venus again?
Gemini.
Yeah, so you're like, it's always about learning for you. It's always about learning. You have like a lot of scholars, you think?
I literally have dated a lot of. I mean, if I look at it, almost everybody I've ever dated were like the A+ students. And it's mad funny because I hated getting A's just out of rebellion. Yeah. Like flat out, like I was the guy that was like, I would just aim for a B. If I'm being real, like I would aim for it to the point where like it was mad weird. Like I would like drop my grades. Yeah. Just to get straight A's to bring it right back to like a B flat line. And it was a whole bunch of out of rebellion without a cause. And I had to learn about that as Aquarius, like why it's so important for Aquarius to rebel with a cause. not just out of a cause. Because in this like early youth learning, I was rebelling without a cause. I just was rebelling because
you felt the need to.
It just felt the need. Like it just felt like this is stupid. That's it, like if I'm being honest, I was like, this is dumb. I was like, the answer is boom. And so it was almost like I found a way to create these illusions in my own educational reality. And I do believe that some part of it is because my Saturn is in the 3rd house. So like their early learning challenges, like they weren't really challenges.
So a lot of the time, Saturn is looked at in a negative way. I am a huge fan of Saturn. He is.
I love Saturn.
My daddy. I love him so much. My Venus is in Aquarius. My Mercury is in Aquarius. My Jupiter is in Capricorn. Like I love Saturn. Saturn is so good to me. I'm very blessed. When I see students who have Saturn placed in the 3rd house, I immediately know that they are there. And this is why I really hope astrology gets to be more generally accepted in education.
It will.
If a teacher recognized that the child has Saturn and they recognize what that meant, they would understand that child is there to teach the class.
Yo, and so this is what would happen. I didn't realize it as a kid. I used to get into so many ego battles with teachers and I had no idea. It wasn't until like I was way later and I started realizing, I was like, hold on. Like if I think about it, I got into all the way through, even in college, but I wasn't really consciously recognizing that was what was happening.
Yeah.
So I just kept being me, like through and through, like.
But had your teacher been an astrologer at some point, they might have been like, okay, now I know what you need. I know you need to be up here with me and an opportunity so that you can learn through.
Not against each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like this is a lot more what happened. It was more headbanging. I'm talking grade school, high school, elementary school. And it's to the point where I had to start recognizing like, well, why did I get into battles? Like literal battles with teachers.
Yeah.
And it didn't make sense. Like, and it got to the point where like teachers would start to turn on me in a way where they would get the other students to turn on.
That's some karma stuff, right?
It was mad weird, bro. Like I'm not
kidding. You, at the same time, you would have had really interesting karmatic relationships with your siblings, and you would have had really karmatic relationships with any type of brother figure. They would have been they put energy towards you, and you get it back, and you're like, oh, I don't like this, and then the universe just poops on them, like your teachers when they mishandled you. Karma comes with Saturn. So if someone mishandles you in your Saturn placement, say you have Saturn in the 7th house and you have a partner who hits you or beats you or restricts you, as soon as you release that person from your experience and they go on with their own personal experience, the universe is going to come shit on top of their head.
Yeah.
Because you are a karmic person and a karmic partner, and you are a karmic student. So every teacher who faced resistance with you when they didn't get the picture and start to appreciate you and teach you in the way that you needed, they would have either lost their job or been demoted.
No, one of these guys lost his job. No, real talk. I remember this is a university professor. Obviously I'm just gonna leave names out. And this professor slept with a student. Now I say this only as like that's just the how, but the what. I remember this teacher, I didn't like taking notes. I never felt like I needed to take notes, if I'm being honest. I just needed to be listening. That's it. And like me taking notes would distract me almost.
Yep. And
I remember this teacher was like, why aren't you taking notes? And I kind of was just like very simple. I'm like I'm listening to you, like. And so to ask a question and like I'll answer the question, and then that's when the ego battle started. So what happened? This professor started throwing pop quizzes every day, and he would say, "Everybody, you can take out your notes and you can use your notes on this pop quiz." Every day, and he did it every day until the students got mad at me, and they were like, "Pernell, would you just please take notes? We don't want to keep doing this." And it was just one of these like dilemmas when it was kind of like, yo, like why is my own learning style so impactful of 20 other kids in the room? Like I'm a single student and I'm paying my tuition. Like, this is my tuition.
Yep.
Come out of my pocket.
Yep.
Why does this matter to anybody else? So I'm really happy to hear you say it, because it's giving me like a different clarity, because you're right. Like that, I don't even wish this upon this guy. I actually really like the guy. I liked him as a professor, to be honest. I thought he was really like a really suave guy, but it's like he did lose his job.
Yeah. I have that experience with hospitals, because Saturn for me is in the 12th house. And when I was mishandled by doctors or midwives, they would be reprimanded and things would happen to their careers. If I was mishandled, anytime I dealt with anyone, again, my parents were, I spent a lot of time around jails as a child because of my father being a criminal and my stepfathers being criminals. And anytime I was mishandled or disrespected by guards, things would be immediately rectified as soon as I would get out of the situation, because that's how it goes. That's Saturn is where karma comes to take for you, so you don't have to.
Keisha, never apologize for a long comment. Like, never. At least not here. I don't know, whoever, not here. Like,
not with Gemini Venus, no.
Never, please don't. Like
He's a Scorpio too.
The way I simply see this is you're helping the channel, because people, your peers who are also in the chats, they benefit from seeing what you're saying. Like, that's how I view it. So never apologize. I do want to get back to Venus and Cat. Laura, what's up? Shout out to you, girl. So we have a Mercury retrograde happening in about 2 days, starting shadow. Yeah. It's going to go into January, right? Venus in Capricorn. What can we expect with this transit?
Okay, so there's a couple things. So this is a book that if you're an astrologer and you don't own one of these, you need to own one of these. This is how we used to do it before the internet. My mom had one of these, and so I always kind of knew how to read it, but it has 100 years in it, and it will teach you about where the planets are per degree. Now mine's all marked up because I use it on a personal level, but I'm able to look at a column of Venus during an entire month and know what degrees she's hitting, if she's going into a retrograde, and when she changes signs. And then also being able to look at it this way, you also are able to see, some people it'll be easier than others, but you're able to see patterns in the numbers. So say Mercury and Venus are at the same degree, you're going to see that right there on the paper. And because you can see all the planets for the same day, you can see where all of them are interacting. Now, some astrologers say that, there's only certain angles, but other astrologers will tell you, especially the older ones, that regardless of what angle this planet is hitting, if it is at the same number as another planet, that's impactful. Even if they're sitting where they can't see each other in houses next door to each other, if they're sitting in oppositions, if they're sitting in 90-degree angles like a square, if they're sitting in a biquintal or a quincunx, any of these things are important. How will it affect Taurus and Scorpio? Differently. Taurus, it will definitely be more impactful and positive for Taurus, where Scorpio is going to be seeing this on more of a social level. They'll see it because it's 11th house. They'll see it more on a social level. So they'll see it impacting through their friends, where with Taurus, it's going to be more on a personal pleasure level. Taurus and Scorpio, this is going to be a breath of fresh air after this transit of the nodes have been so heavy. It is really going to be a breath of fresh air. And it will give a little bit of clues as to what it'll be like when Venus finally gets into Taurus next year.
And just to confirm, the nodes, and I'm not doing this from fact at the moment, the next nodes are North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's the South Node coming through Libra. So we are releasing our expectations of what balance is, of what partnership is, of what truth is when it comes to truth from self to other. So perspective truth. That's what we're releasing. And we're leaning into what's true for me. Like, screw everybody else's opinion. How do I feel about what I want? What's my desire? What's powerful for me? Where's
going to take priority?
Yeah. Rahu, the North Node in Aries, is technically in sidereal astrology. This has already been going on. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So like there is an element of the fire is building already. It's already starting to. I honestly see it like a campfire where you put all the sticks together and you make like that little teepee energy of all of the wood, and you put the kindling underneath. Like the coals are warm and it's starting to take flame already. And once we hit that North Node switch into tropical Aries, we're going to see
it's gonna boom. It's gonna blast off. You know, can I add to what you said, because it goes right back into what I made for the flyer of this post, like transform and withdraw, you know, in order to like realize and see the physical tangible proof. Okay. And a lot of this, when it comes to Venus and Capricorn, understand that like sensuality, earth, think physical touch, like sensuality is going to have to be met with more integrity. It's going to have to be met with proof. So the more fairy tale, idealistic, intangible, metaphysical forms of love in a way, they're like, I really feel like a part of this transit, they're taking over a back burner, because we're starting to realize, like, let's say twin flames, for example, she brought up a little earlier. We're starting to realize that that's not what we want. like we don't really want to be in love, quote unquote, with a twin flame dynamic. We want to take the lessons. Understand that Capricorn is the teacher. You know, Saturn is the teacher. So we really want to take the lessons. Shout out to you, Anthony, from Barbados, one of our back end astrology members. Meet up on first and third Sundays. So shout out to you, Anthony, Barbados. So what I really feel like it was impacting us as we lead into those next nodal changes, which will happen in 2023. 2023 is a big year. It's still not it's gonna be simpler in my opinion in some ways. In other ways, we're not out of the woods. To be honest, like we just got we got a little while before things start feeling like, yeah, you know, but all of it is positive. How I truly feel like this is happening is
my little Capricorn's coming.
Oh, your little Capricorn?
Hey, Capricorn. She's feeling a little under the weather today.
What's her name?
Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn.
How you doing?
Wow, you have like a mythical name.
Isn't she?
Yeah, it feels like Harry Potterish.
Are you a Harry Potter, you little wizard? No.
No?
Not right now. All right, baby. I'll be back in a minute, okay?
And if you ever need to make a shift, if you ever have to go, like, just say something. So kind of how I feel like this is hitting is like, understand, and this came to me last night through my dreams as well as when I woke up. There's a lot of people who ignored Scorpio season while it was in the South Node, and it's going to be very detrimental later.
Yeah. And
what I'm saying is this has to do more with sex and physical intimacy, okay? And when I say proof, Rahu in Aries, this is the snake's tongue. This is not necessarily the head of the snake. It's the actual tongue. If you look at Aries in its symbol, it does this.
Yes.
This is the tongue.
Which is the senses. Which is the senses. It is the senses. That's how they smell things, right?
Exactly. And it's also our ability to charm somebody's pants off.
Yeah, and hypnotize people, literally. But it's happening in Aries in a more selfish manner. It's not really considering the partner's needs. It's not really considering themes of integrity. It's thinking about instantaneous now. It's thinking about, this is what I want now, and I'm not really looking for win-win situations later. Yeah.
And so how I feel like this Venus and Capricorn is going to bring the reality of, you know, because leaving Scorpio season, we go into Sag season where it's still easy to kind of run away from some deeper physical, you know, you can still kind of zap out of reality. You can still go beyond the boundaries.
Yeah.
But Capricorn is really here for a G check. It's a reality check. It's going to show us, look, those things you ignored, tangible proof must and is required, because I'm not going to build a legacy on top of something that is muddy water.
Yeah.
Because a muddy foundation will sink.
Yes.
And I feel like this is really key with Venus and Capricorn. Mercury's already, our mind has already been there, but now we're going to start to value what our mind has already kind of been showing us. We've already had, I've been trying to tell people, drink less coffee during this Cap energy. Drink less coffee so you can get in tune with the feminine sides of Saturn, the feminine sides of Capricorn, and not prioritize Libra or Aquarius more so, because Aquarius is still in the sky. Not to prioritize the masculine approach to Saturn, because we're going to ignore, it's easy for Capricorn to ignore the sensitivities because it already kind of represses its feelings. It already represses intuition a little bit. And it kind of gets forced into these, like, it has to rest. It gets forced into rest so that it can start to feel and gain and go through melancholy. And once it goes through melancholy, then it gets its creative states and creative juices flowing that says, hey, here's my sensitive, physical, sensual intuition that's in my body, revealing to me in my body as a form of intuition, proof that I'm not okay with this relationship. I'm not okay with this this excess and hedonism. Yep. I need something that is sincere. I need something that is dependable. I need something that I need connections that are reliable. I can't be doing these last minute cancels. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of the energy is coming up.
When you were talking about it, it reminded me that there's a stone that I don't know if it's equated, as hysterically to Capricorn, but for me, whenever I'm working with Capricorn energy, I always suggest people to work with this stone, and that's petrified wood. Look at him, he's got it right. Ready?
Come on.
Right? Like petrified wood, it's the stone, right? It's the stone that comes over time from the natural growth from Earth. Like if Taurus is the spring seed that breaks through and Virgo is that huge field of wheat, then Capricorn is the petrified wood. It's old, it's ancient, it's forever. It takes all the time, right? Like that is the energy of Capricorn. So someone asked about what's the highlights about this. I don't remember who, sorry. So there's a couple of things. So when Venus comes into, when Venus comes in, she just dropped into Capricorn. However, once she hits 12 degrees, then she'll be around the same degree as Mars. Okay, so Mars in Gemini retrograding, and he's like literally going backwards as she's going forwards. They won't be in a direct. They're almost in a blind spot to each other because Gemini is, what is that, like 3 + 5, 6 signs away, right? 6 signs away from Mars to Venus. And when Mars is retrograding through a communication air sign and he's making this blind spot aspect to Venus, there are going to be rules laid down that you won't see until after you've broken them, okay? New rules, new laws, new receipts, especially coming from authority figures. So that's going to happen on the 20th of December. On the 27th, she's going to be aspecting Saturn, and they're obviously sitting in signs right beside each other. So this is another blind spot where they're working together, but they're not communicating. It's almost like they're sitting beside each other and their telepathy is happening. Okay, Saturn providing new paradigms, new truths, new innovations when it comes to community, and Venus and Capricorn saying, okay, here's the new rule, here's the new legislation. Yeah, and Venus in Capricorn, again, this is Libra energy in Capricorn, so we're talking about legislation here, right? We're talking about new government rules and impactfuls, probably about taxes as well. And then lastly, on the 31st-ish and the 1st of January, she's going to be with Pluto. We're starting the year with a Venus-Pluto conjunction. That's heavy. That's all of our power and intensity being rebalanced. When
Venus, 30th of December.
Yeah.
We have a Venus and Pluto conjunct.
Yeah, and Mercury will be pretty close too, but he's retrograding.
Okay, so about 2 more degrees from this right here.
Yeah, so like a day or so. So this is fixed in time, right? So I believe it's noon Central Time, and then
Sure. I got you. So 31st, basically around
31st first. It's the new year. We're starting with the Venus conjunction to Pluto.
Now, talk to us about this. Talk to us about this conjunction with Venus and Pluto coming together. What is this about?
Well,
And
go
as
ahead.
you say that, I recently heard, and it made sense to me intuitively, but again, from a rationality standpoint, I need some time. 27 degrees is the degree exaltation of Venus. The Venus exalts in 27 degrees. Now, again, I need to do more research and
It's
confirm this for myself.
numerologically 9 as well, which is the height number, right? Like that is the number of pure evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Into 9, it's the top. It's where you believe completely in yourself and you can move forward in faith.
Boom. So what is this conjunction between Venus and Pluto? So we're at the beginning of Venus in Capricorn. So at the end of the month, right before the new year, we're getting ready to hit this final conjunction. What does this mean? Because these are big planets, okay? These are powerful planets. So what's up?
I honestly believe there's going to be a hauling in of authority saying like, okay, we're arresting all of these people, or we're calling on all of these tax debts, or we're like implementing new rules. Because again, she would have just come into the 22nd degree where Saturn is before she did this. And now while she's here, Mercury is retrograding towards the 22nd degree. So it's not just her and Pluto, it's her and Pluto and Saturn and Mercury all working together. And Neptune's involved too, right? So like we have this energy of new rules being implemented. And I wouldn't be surprised if this has to do with taxes and debts and control when it comes to how people spend their money, where they spend their money. Honestly, like it's a little intimidating. I'm not going to lie. If anyone is in any kind of Plutonian relationship with another person, this is the time where it's going to go and fall into pieces, because when Venus and come in together,
union. Oh crap! What am I doing? Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Get back, move. No, this kind of, like I said, if it goes back into my dreams that I was telling you, I didn't tell you much about it. Go back into my dreams though, and like I was talking a little bit about that Rahu and the Aries tongue, right? And that charming ability. The 27th degree is Gemini, right? It's a highly conscious, evolved degree of Gemini. And so it's kind of like we're not really, with this conjunction between Pluto and Venus, I'm really feeling like we can't run anymore. Our power dynamics, the power struggles we've been facing in the space of communication, and in a sense, there's this understanding for me, it's like people who were logically attaching to the monies, okay, or the status of another individual, they're getting called out, and it's going to happen publicly in the news. I really felt you when you said that people are going to get hauled off, okay, and basically imprisoned or get caught on tax evasions and things of that matter. Everybody that has been abusing their power or their reputation or their status, or if you've been abusing somebody else's power, reputation, status, it's coming down hard. And I made this video again about Venus and Cap, saying like, look, this is the time to realize that, like you said, with the hill, the ant hill or the mouse hill or rat, I forget exactly, they all have to kind of stack on top of each other and they build this mountain. And it's kind of saying like, if you got a dirty rat in a way, okay, if you got some secrets that
you have a diseased rat, the whole crew falls down.
The whole thing's going to fall because it's going to start, it's kind of like crabs in a barrel. They're going to start pulling everybody else down with them. Mm-hmm. And you got to be aware of your network that is supporting your legacy. You got to be very careful. Like if it's not happening in integrity.
Pointed it right there. That's it right there. The network that supports your legacy. Absolutely.
The network that supports your legacy. Like you have to be very strategic in knowing. And I've been really putting a lot of emphasis on this about like, who do I connect with? Who do I bring on lives? Who do I, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm starting to really have to put a lot more energy because I'm realizing if for simplicity, I'm realizing I got to put more respect on my own name.
That's right.
I've been really, and a part of it is because people, when you reveal their secrets, when or not even you, but like when somebody's secrets are revealed and they're not ready, when things become public and they were more comfortable with them being private, and they know that they did some things out of integrity, they know they did things without respect, people start to squirm. They start squirming and they panic. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to be involved in a Ponzi scheme in that moment of panic, because the whole pyramid always crashes. It's like Jenga. It's like you pull that wrong block, or you invest your legacy into that wrong person.
Oh, I know. So there's another thing about this Venus in Capricorn energy that I do predict happening before she hits Pluto. We're definitely going to be seeing, again, we were saying about the 27th degree. When she hits Pluto, she is moving into sidereal Capricorn, or sidereal Cap. Am I doing that right? Yes, sidereal Capricorn. Yes. So at 27 degrees, that's where they two overlap. That's where the two zodiacs overlap. And you get both. So from 27 to 30 or 29.50, that's when you can see the most impactful Capricorn frequencies, because it is entirely Cap. There is no wish-wash about it. There is no mutable energy about it. It is entirely Capricorn. So at that point is where I see authorities really, I don't want to say overreaching, because for some authority, this is absolutely required. And for others, it will be overreaching. So it's a little too general to say it's overreaching. But there will be I know in Canada, they're trying to pass a bill where we can only see Canadian content on the internet, which is pretty impossible to implement without making us feel like we're in like a Chinese republic. At the same time, Canada is facing some huge relationship stuff with China, where we've recently found out there is a policed state happening inside our major cities. There are little tiny boxes of Chinese Republic police reporting to China. And the government is starting to finally answer to this and say, like, because the reporters have asked enough, like, what is this? Why do we keep hearing about this? And the government is finally starting to address that. And there is a lot of contention going on between those two countries right now. Actually, the Prime Minister of Canada, who is, like I said, he's got an Aquarius Venus. So we'll see that more when in January and February, when Venus is moving through Aquarius. We'll see it with Canada. We'll see the politics shift more in February and January. But he actually got into an argument, I think at the G20, on camera with the ruler of China. The ruler of China was like, the private conversation you and I had was supposed to be private, and you told your media. And my prime minister was like, we don't hide our stuff here, which is a lie. But
that's a lie.
It is totally. But he tried to use that whole, like, I have a free media. I have that with my constituents, and I will provide that.
It's a public power move, and this is a lot of what you're going to witness in reality. Like, trust your intuition. Somebody, I think it was Keisha, said it. Yo, trust the red flags. As a Piscean, a lot of Jupiter influence in my chart, I really have started putting a lot of energy on trusting the red flags. But also,
what was that?
That was a door closed.
Universal energy right there, right?
When I tell you, mind you, my Scorpio is in the 12th house as well. Understand that, like, these collective dreams and how deep they go sometimes. The best thing I can say, listen to that closed door. Trust the red flags, because Capricorn season is Earth. It is the last Earth until Taurus season, right? Mm-hmm. Where you at the top of the mountain on reality. If you do not trust what you see in Capricorn season, and you don't recognize those red flags, you will be in a tremendous amount of pain. Like Brie was saying, at that 27 degrees, at that 29 degrees, when you get the real Cap energy, That's when we'll
You
see.
hear the crowing too? Like the animals are even telling you, like, it's right now.
And crows can represent the past, present, and future, just as an open animal message. So it's like you're. Oh, that's a rooster. That's a rooster.
So it's the crowing of the rooster. It's like an alarm bell.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things I learned about roosters is they represent masculine energy. There's an African mythology that goes into it where I'm gonna skip it for now, but long story short, they wished the sun away, the sun left, and they had to sacrifice, and the rooster became the sacrifice in a way to say, "Thank you, I got the message, bro. I'm telling them now." He's like, "Let him know." He's like, "Let him know."
Don't you skip this! Don't you skip it! It's my story.
He's like, "Tell him now." Yo, so okay, I'll tell him a little bit more.
Please do.
So in Africa, they literally wished the sun away because it was just too hot. They were like, "Look, it's too hot. Like, we're starving. It's dry. We need water. Like, we're suffering." And they just didn't want the sun. So the sun left. Now, this might be something in reality as simple as an eclipse, like a rare one, where the sun was gone long enough where they got nervous. They got scared. They were like, "Oh, crap." Like, and they didn't have enough, technology to be like, "Oh, it's coming back in 4 days." Okay. Yeah. And so in that time, they realized we need the sun. We don't have energy. We don't have blah, 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 blah. And so they had to they went to this rooster spirit or rooster deity. And the rooster essentially promised to always cock-a-doodle-doo at sunrise for the rest of its days to call the sun back because they realized how important it was. So it became a symbolism of masculine energy over time. It became the sun type energy, masculine energy, assertive energy, consciousness, essentially praise as well. Praise to the sun, praise to like, wow, this is so powerful. We need this. And when you hear a cock-a-doodle-doo, usually it is showing you and telling you a symbol of clarity, logic, objectivity, assertion, projection. Okay, all masculine traits and abilities. And obviously you need to take in the negatives of masculine as well, which can be, intolerant. It could be authoritarian into the way of like dictatorship, right? It can get into this, assertiveness to the point where it becomes excessive, and then it becomes force, right? And like forcing your thoughts, forcing your clarity, forcing your opinions, and kind of stepping away from the objectivity and stepping into more shadow aspects. So the rooster can mean a lot of things. I kind of leave it like broad for that for now, but ultimately what it's telling me in this moment is hear that clear message. Look, the door just opened.
I love it. I love it.
So, Brie, what do you want to give us for the closing message on this Venus entering Capricorn transit?
Definitely that this is about integrity. I highly recommend people leaning into meditating on their own internal authority and figuring out if that voice is yours or if that voice, it belongs to some paradigm that you're conditioned to believe in. Because a lot of the time people are living by the rules and the laws. And yes, we have to follow the laws of the land. Like, I get it. We have governments, they're controlling us, blah, 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 blah. But there are personal integrity rules that people might not be realizing are not their rules. So if it's, this is the way it's always been. Or
generational rules and guidelines, yeah.
It's okay to step away and follow that gut feeling, especially if you start to see that the world that is relying on those rules are falling down. It's okay to step away and try something different. It's actually integral that you do, because if you don't, you're going to wash away with that.
So I just typed it right now that this is one of the things that I do love and do respect about the human design. It's like I've been practicing with that gut feeling you're talking about, and this is kind of one of those like understanding your strategy, whether you've heard the talk generator, manifesting
I'm a manifesting generator, apparently.
Okay, so what you just said, for example, so I'm a generator, right? Okay. And you're a manifesting generator. They call one a pure generator and one a manifesting generator. There is a line that says in there, generators, both of us, are 70% of the population.
Yeah.
And they say how generators are essentially All we had to do was enslave generators and the whole world was enslaved. Manifestors alone are the ones that create those guidelines. Shut the fuck up, bro. Yo, no. You heard me, bro. You heard me. You heard me. Hey.
There's
I know what a bad person you are. You're even your girlfriend fighting, and I know what bullshit you said. So I'm not interacting with a person like you.
authority right there.
I would love, I'll tell you this, I would love to see you in the desert. Oh, you ain't got nothing to say, huh?
Authority overstepping. There it is.
Yo.
With no integrity and no respect.
I swear. This is one of those things where it's like, I'm going to leave it an open interpretation. Come see me in the desert. I don't even know what made that come out of my soul. It was like, you want to meet me? Meet me in the desert. What kind of comment is that? I don't know idea. I have no idea.
That's a Leo Jupiter. Leo Jupiter right there.
Yo, that jump made me want to, like, what made me say, like, meet me in the desert? I swear, I just felt like full Aryan, like, you want to handle this? We can do it. We can do it. You want to handle this? We can handle it. We can go ahead. All right, I'm done. I got riled up.
No
Excuse me. So,
we're talking about authority coming down and overstepping. That's what it looks like. In case anybody was wondering, if you don't show up with integrity and respect, and he's an authority figure to you, so good luck to him. So good luck to him.
Oh, he's not an authority. He's somebody that lives in this complex, and he is something.
He's coming in acting like a landlord. That's insanity.
Oh, I know. No, he be bugging. He crossed the line too many times.
Saturn in the third house. Third house is neighbors, so that is like good luck for him.
Yeah, he's crossed the line on too many different occasions, and that's just that. For me, it's just that simple. Like, I mean, I've been here for months and months and months. He just crossed the line way too much. He could see me in the desert. That's how we're gonna leave that. So, man, yo, I tell you, there's one of these things I had to learn. To be honest, I don't even fully always understand what transit or what astrological sciences puts me under, quote unquote. But there's these moments where channels just pull through me. Mm-hmm. When people truly step out of line, the type of people that think that they can't get punched in the face. Though that's not going to happen.
Says the Aries.
not in 2022 or anything forward. All right. If you
I get it.
Yeah.
I yesterday had a situation with a family member, and I found out somebody had put hands on my child. And I, out of my mouth, said, that person better not put hands on my child. I'm going to be putting hands on that person. And I'm not going to do that. I would never do that. I have dealt with the proper authorities now, and things are moving into place. And that is that. But the energy came right out. And again, I have a Pisces, so things go in and out and flop through and fall through me nice and quickly. But I have progressed into an Aries sun, so my ego stepped in front and said the thing, but I wouldn't actually act on it because that gets nothing solved.
It doesn't. And I can say that from simple evidence and proof in my life. It does not get anything solved. Nope.
And there is a solution. That's the other thing, is that it might feel like the immediate reaction is a solution, but it is not. It's a test. If you can overcome that immediate reaction and move into where you feel your integrity instead of your response, your reaction, then you get to see the solution, where otherwise you stay in the problem.
She said the word test right when you said it at the same time.
There's an amazing energy book that I read, and it's actually written by like a self-help person. It's not a astrology book at all, but being that I have Mars and Saturn together, the name of it pulled me in, and it has this quote that says fear in general, which fear is generally the thing that makes us react, right? It's fear of your bodily autonomy. It's fear of your spatial awareness. It's fear of your security, whatever it is that makes you react. That's where it's tapping into. It's the fear. And fear is false evidence appearing real. It's not real. It's not a real tangible thing. It's just an idea in your mind. And that's what fear really based is. And that book is called Compassionate Samurai. I highly recommend it.
Compassionate Samurai.
It's such a good book. It taught me so much about integrity and timing and depending on myself and seeing things and commitment, and it's changed my life 150%.
So what you just said, this is a Venus in Capricorn aspect. Timing is something that I feel like, I know in my life, timing has become so much more critical. I mean, paramount, where, especially as like public figures, right? Like we are publicly on the internet, literally live in the moment, right? So I can easily sit there and say, timing for him to get cursed out, probably not the best timing. And at the same time, probably the perfect timing.
It was the perfect timing. It was absolutely the perfect timing.
You see what I'm saying? Like, and I know, like, this is kind of what I was saying before. Like, I know that there's these channels inside of me, where, what do you call it? All right, so I'm a 5-1 heretic generator. I mean, heretic investigator, right? And one of the things is I constantly get projected on, like as a 5 line, and at least the back of human design as a 5 line, as a heretic.
Well, 5 is the number of war, so
5 is the number of war
and stress, and creep.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like this war will always come, and I had to learn like to either accept or deny the projection, and it can't always be denied. I had to learn that, because then I just kind of fall out of my natural being, and I can't always accept whatever the projection. Doesn't matter. Love, anger.
No, you have to use discernment.
Got to use discernment. And so it's like, what I had to start learning is, because I used to be like a little bit more like, it used to get me off tilt, a moment like that, and then it would continue, because then I would begin to boil when I didn't understand.
Yes.
When I didn't understand. But when I started to understand, I started realizing whoever the people that, let's just say, that happens to be on this live that may think that they can never stand up to a bully, or they don't know how to. I had to start learning timing, where this being one of those right times, there might be legit a mother who's in a fight right now, custody, battle, whatever it is, who needs to actually witness that sometimes you can't manage or handle a bully in the way you were told you're supposed to. And I feel like this timing of this Capricorn type energy, this, when I think Capricorn, I think like generation, I think ancestral, like a deep seated, legacy based
Foundations.
Rules.
Yeah.
Disciplines, right? Social status. This is literally a social reputation right now on the line. With like, well, I just did this on a social collective scale. I have no idea who will see this. No idea what country, right? Where every once in a while that Arian's fight needs to, I need to press accept on that projection so that others can witness that exact projection and get charged by it in their own culture.
Absolutely.
Somewhere, God knows where in the world.
Yes.
Okay, look, I got another 5-1 projector. Well, I'm not a projector, I'm a 5-1 generator, but you know, something close and similar to it.
Yeah. It's interesting because like the fact that person came through and they projected themselves onto you like they were an authority. They're not. They're your peer. They sit right eye to eye. And to everybody else around you, anyone who listening who was to hear him would have been like, oh, that person's an authority, because they're acting that way. They're projecting that out to the world. And without you responding and us communicating about it, it would have been assumed that person was an authority.
Oh, yeah.
By you checking him and then us communicating about it, it is now understood that he's not an authority. In fact, he's just a peer. And that is a perfect example of the shit that's going to be exposed and how it will be exposed. We'll see lots of people who are coming up being like, I'm authority about this and I'm going to state a rule. But then there will be, and it'll be, I bet you any money, it'll be a lot of 88 babies who are like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not an authority. Go sit down. Go sit back down. You're from the old Capricorn way. I am the new Capricorn. You sit down now. And
no, I hear it.
The new paradigm can exist, right? But it only exists when we start rejecting the old paradigm. But that doesn't mean the old paradigm is going to shut right up.
No.
It will be a constant for a long time, at least.
It's what I was trying to tell you. It's like when you back a rat into a corner, what happens? They will claw through you if they must. Like, we've all seen that like torture movie where they put a rat in a bucket on your belly and they like heat the bucket up. If the rat has no escape, but it starts to heat up, it will literally claw and chew its way through your stomach.
Yep.
It will find it. And so we have to understand that truly as people start getting publicly revealed.
Yes.
Especially people who are living out of integrity. As they get revealed, be very mindful of your reaction and understand how Capricorn in this season, I feel truly will be able to teach us sincerity, one, but also just how to be solid. Even in that reaction, how to value just being solid. Because, like I said, over the months, this is his standard behavior. Most times, I don't even really acknowledge him as a person, quite frankly. Most times, it's just kind of like, do what you got to do. Every once in a while, when he wants to get bold, it's like, please understand your place. Because I promise you, like, I'm not the one. I see how he terrorizes so many other guests. Terrorizes them. And then they come in as new guests, because this is still
I bet you any money that man has Taurus placements. And I'm saying so because Venus has moved into Capricorn. And again, like, we think Venus is this beautiful thing and this sweet, loving thing, but she comes in and breaks the darkness. Yeah. Okay. So, like, I very much believe that bullheadedness is probably.
That one got me cracking up, yo.
It's perfect. That was total bullhead energy of that person to do that, like 100%.
Oh my God, that joke was funny. It's really true. Like that. Okay, so she actually just helped me because I knew I was blanking out before. I'm almost so silly I forgot. Like, it's the Aries part of me.
Yeah.
It is so
like Capricorn.
It is so instinctual.
Yes.
Like I'm very aware that like I meet demons in real life. I don't deny this. I do not deny this. And so every once in a while, like that thing, it just literally takes over me. And it you know, when people, and it's almost like I said, Aries is the soldier that goes to war, right? But Capricorn, Libra, they're
the general. That is
they're the ones telling who do we attack.
Yeah. Like
they're the ones saying like, look, this is the mission. This is who needs to get infiltrated. This is who needs to get shut down. And so like I had to really, really learn that like there are certain instances where I do this or have done this from a more egoic standpoint, just completely unaware. And that's just like out of pocket. It's wrong. It's out of pocket.
But who you were and what you've done got you to where you are.
Exactly. Where now I can learn to embrace and accept that. Oh, I love when God gives me the green light. I love when God gives me the green light. I love when God gives me the green light to say something like, I'll put you in the desert. Like, what does that mean? I have no idea what that means. Like when I hear it come out of my own mouth, I'm like,
okay. Wow, I knew the cards would help me. So there's one more thing that we have to talk about, and that would be Lilith is in Cancer.
Wait, let me make you big. Let me make you bigger.
So Lilith is in Cancer, opposite Capricorn right now. Okay, so when Venus and Lilith get together, I'm a big study on Lilith. Black Moon Lilith is right near my solar placement. And for a long time, I wouldn't say worshipped her, but I definitely studied her really, really hard to understand that type of angry chaos that comes from rebellion. Lilith is primarily masculine energy, like walking around feminine. It is aggressive. It is unapologetic. It is independent. It is all of these things that Libra, a dark Libra could, like, you could say that's the dark facets of Libra, which is the masculine energy of Venus, right? So Black Moon Lilith moved into Cancer and Roe versus Wade was overturned, right? Like that. Okay. I do believe when Venus is opposite Black Moon Lilith, which again is coming closer to Pluto, is when we will see that revisited. And it may be that there's new laws instilled. It may be that there is new protections put in place on the old laws. But Black Moon Lilith at 29 degrees, she's about to move into Leo next year. And as she does that, she is predecessing Venus moving and retrograding in Leo next fall. Okay, this is not the end of this. This energy that we're going to have at the end of the year will very much be about the Roe versus Wade thing. There's going to be uprisings. There may be legislation put in place. And when we see Venus retrograding in Leo next fall, going over the same places that Black Moon Lilith is going to go over this winter and this spring, we're going to see that revisited and uproared. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more women's marches kind of thing.
Okay, wait. So this morning, because I told you, I woke up from some super light. I knew what I was doing. I intentionally went to go support people in the Astro. And I know exactly who and why and all of it. And I woke up this morning because I was like, I didn't really sleep. Like, truthfully, like, I was like, oh, crap, there's some real messed up energy in this Astro space. But whatever, I'm going to leave it alone. I rolled my dice this morning, and I rolled Venus in Leo, 11th house.
That's the group.
Exactly. Venus in Leo, 11th house. And
that's Libra rising. That's a Libra rising chart.
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
Wait. No. Wait, maybe. I'm lost. I blanked out.
So if Leo is in the 11th house, Virgo's in the 12th, Libra's in the 1st.
Okay, done. Thank you. I was like, because I had a whole different thought. I was like, wait, what? This is kind of at Aquarius.
What happens when two Sagittarius rises try to talk about
Yo, I feel like it was also part of my third house in Aqua. Like sometimes, like, you know, like those systems were like, I was like, wait a minute, too many calculations at the same time. It just got like, it was like, wait, What I want to hear what you have. What do you feel Lilith and Cancer is doing specifically, and what will it do in Leo? Because I feel like I need those two pieces, and then it's going to come back to this.
This is such a hot topic. It's so hard to talk about topics while they're happening. Like my teacher told me, like that teacher I spoke about earlier, the one that was the son of a Nazi. I remember him sitting with me, and he was like, it was like 30, 40 years or whatever since that had happened. It was the 90s when we were in this conversation, so maybe even 50 years. And he looked at the class and he said, this is still going to be a hot topic, even though it's been decades and decades and decades. When you're in a situation, you won't know its history. When you're experiencing it, you cannot possibly know what the hell the history is going to say about it in time. However, I will say that the whole LGBTQ movement moving into a trans rights movement, that's Lilith in Leo or Lilith in Cancer. The Roe versus Wade, that's Lilith in Cancer. You're talking about the feminine saying, I am going to take the power of the masculine.
That's this photo, this picture literally exemplifies this is a feminine, okay,
holding firepower,
and all fire is masculine, at least in astrology.
Yeah.
Right. And so I feel like what this is saying with the Lilith and Cancer is like it's the raw, because when I think of Lilith, I think of instinctual power. Raw instinctual power,
animalistic, yeah.
And notice this is 8. This is an 8 up top. Again,
that's Saturn's number. That is my number. That is Saturn's number.
You know what I'm saying? So again, power. I also know 8 as a power number.
Yeah.
Right. And Saturn, part of it, the 8. If you flip it on the side, what is it? It's infinity.
Infinity. Yep.
So you know,
whatever goes out comes right back in. It's Saturn's karma.
boom. So this I feel like is what explains to me this Lilith in Cancer, where it's like this instinctual power of our emotion restoring. Because cardinal water is fresh seawater. It's fresh. It has the ability to cleanse. It has the ability to restore.
It's the rain. I actually heard a analogy that I love for the water sign. So Cancer is that summer rain that breaks. Scorpio is the energy of that wetness that comes in the cold that you can feel in your bones. Like it makes your internal water cold. And Pisces is the fog. You can't quite touch it. You can see it, but you no matter how much you walk into a fog, you can't hold it. You can't put it in a bottle. It moves from you. I remember the first time I was ever in fog. Like I was a bush party, and there was we were out in the back of a cornfield, and there was fog everywhere, and I was super, super intoxicated. And I was a city girl in the country, and this was my first bush party, and I was like, this is so cool. I want to go walk in the fog. And so I started walking. And I realized I wasn't getting any closer. And I turned around to my friend who was from the area. And I'm like, what is this? I don't understand. And she's like, have you never walked in fog before? And I'm like, no. I grew up in the city. We don't have open spaces like this. I have no idea. I grew up in Toronto where every 5 minutes there's a high rise. I don't know this. And she was like, yeah, that's completely normal. You're never going to catch it. And I just remember being so oh. I was really hurt that I couldn't, because it looked so beautiful. It was like clouds all around us, except we couldn't contain them. We couldn't touch them. So that's the water signs for me, is the Cancer, whereas Lilith now is that rain, that initial break of emotion. It's the first water. Initiation. Yeah.
Okay, so Cancer and Lilith is the initiation for Lilith and Leo.
Yes, very much so.
And so it's
and Leo is the sign of the child too. So we're about to see the child fight back, the child speak up. We're about to see children get empowered on a level that we've not seen before.
But I also feel like this is deeper than just children. It's our own inner child, even as adults.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Because a lot of us have been you see it on the internet for the last couple of years, right? 3-4 years. Oh, everybody's doing inner child work. It's become this global phenomenon, and people are coaching on it, and yada, 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 right? And it's just one of these things where it's showing me, when I think of Cancer, it's the unconscious patterns that, we privately have dealt with in our family's dynamic. And
you and I are both Sag rising, so we see Cancer from the 8th house.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that gives us a really deep, heavy understanding of what that means. And for a lot of people meet Cancer. They're like, oh, you're so sweet. You're no, they'll kill you.
I think Cancer is the most savage. No, I think Cancer is the most savage. I really do. You know how I kind of discovered this? And this matters because remember, Venus in Capricorn opposite is Cancer. So understand that when it starts making those oppositions, this really matters to this message as a whole. So here what Brie is saying, right? Cancer, the first 4 signs are individuals, and Cancer is the last individual, which means it has all the powers of Aries, all the powers of Taurus, all the tenacity and the boldness and the confidence and the impulsivity, the strength of Aries, Mars. The stability to really rock with themselves and trust with self-esteem, their perseverance, Taurus. Now they can think for themselves, Gemini, right? And truthfully cut you up. We see this with Mars and Gemini now. And then Cancer is now I've added the sensitivities. Now I've added the emotions. Now I've added, this watery aspect that's required to make myself a complete person. I'm not even dealing with nobody else yet. And so I think people get Cancer twisted where they realize they don't think that it's this tenacious sign. I have the Cancer in the 8th, like you said. My Mars is in Cancer 8th house. And I used to wonder, people would talk about things and I've lived in certain gang neighborhoods at certain points in my life. And there was just this thing that I never could fully put my finger on when I was younger, but I knew in my soul, I will kill somebody. I will truly, and I'll do it with my bare hands. And I've always felt that in my soul, but it's not something I knew I couldn't talk about that out loud.
Well, because I know how that sounds. It's ruled by the 8th house Cancer. Yeah. So your Aries moon has this psychic ancient ability to probably poison people. It's probably liquid based. You could probably psychically destroy someone as well.
And I had to start learning that I have. And I didn't, you know, something that like truly from a conscious level, I couldn't understand that. But I also understand that if and whenever I have, it also happened because boundaries are truly crossed.
Yeah.
Boundary, it's not just some just because Cancer doesn't really want to deal with nobody else, quite frankly. Nor does Aries. These are individual signs. So it's like when this happened, it's because you dealt my own individual. You suffered my own individuality. Yeah. You crossed my own individual borders and boundaries. So even when I couldn't consciously defend myself, it's almost like this Cancer 8th in the back of me. It has this ability to glare. Honestly, it has this ability to control the environment around me enough where you're going to feel more threatened to not even want to threaten me. Mm-hmm. And I had to start learning, and it was really confusing because there was this mafia mentality within me where it wasn't necessarily always, it was sometimes my family, like cousins when we were going to clubs and stuff, but it also was whoever I considered family. It's like, if you did something out of the ordinary or wrong to somebody, a roommate, a lover, I am truly in the mafia mentality where you will get chopped up in a box and never found. Truthfully, and it's
that's
hard.
Very savage. We all have that, but you have it in paradigm because of your Aries moon being.
It's not hard growing up, right? Though, because it's like you're not allowed to have these thoughts. You can't even think this. You can't say this to somebody and have it make any sense. So I didn't
go to jail for it. Yeah,
or go to jail for it. It would go to jail for it. Which is why ultimately I never said anything. But what I didn't recognize then, because I didn't know astrology during these times of these periods I'm talking about. What I can reflect back in retrospect now is that like, oh my God, I really meant it. like I was like, oh my God, like thank God that like I got my own guides and my own system set up to prevent me from doing such things. Because sometimes I reflect and I think, and I'm like, man, if I cross some of these lines, if I cross some of these boundaries, there was no coming back. And it's kind of what helped me start to realize, it wasn't until I met some Pisces and they helped me understand some past life understandings where it was like, yo, your ancestors, they just want you to know that this is where this energy comes from, but they also want you to know that they did that part for you already. You don't have to.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to do this, but we want you to know that you have this energy inside of you, but it's not even from your timeline.
No.
So you can kind of let it go.
We were a seed in our mother's when she was a seed in her mother, right? So you've seen a lot of things on a physical level. Regardless of your past life, your DNA has experienced these things. Like your grandmother was carrying the seeds for her daughter who would become your mother while she was in womb. You were there. So you've seen and experienced lots of things on a psychic level. Absolutely. And you've definitely experienced those type of things. Same with me. I have Italian backgrounds, and we don't look too hard into why we owned a laundromat, that kind of thing.
There are some things that I can tell you in person, off camera, about that.
This is what Sagittarius do. This is why the ninth house, that ninth house heavy energy is that we have the lessons. We have the lessons of our previous generations that we can build on, right? Yeah. And that's why Capricorn in the second house is kind of a blind spot for us, right? The second house is your senses, and we sense the structures that we feel in our past life experience. And that's why Venus moving in for us, like, hopefully this will be beneficial to our bank accounts as well. Wouldn't hurt. But I should say, so I wanted to do, before we take off, I wanted to do for each of the signs. So for Aries, this is coming into the 10th house. You're probably going to see some, especially for night chart people, if you're an Aries moon, but also Aries rising. This is 10th house. So you could see a lot of karmic receipts come through towards your legacy. It may be that you get the job promotion. It may be that you get the title. You may get, it could be marriage for some people, or it could just be business titles are shifting and changing, and you're getting more positive frequencies on top of that. I've got the sun in me. Hold on. For Taurus energy, this is super positive because it's coming in Venus in Capricorn is your, is it the 9th house, right? Am I doing that right?
I completely was getting ready to type these in as you were saying. But wait, I have it here. I have these written down actually. So Taurus, 9th house, yes. 9th house in all this Capricorn energy. Pisces planets are hitting your 11th house. Mars hitting your 2nd house, and Gemini. Yeah, I got them all written down right here. I kind of
Perfect. Yeah. So for Aries people, this is your 10th house. For Taurus people, it's your 9th house. For Gemini people, this is your 8th house. You will be seeing a Gemini rising, and I'm thinking of one Gemini rising right now who's about to face some karma. This is going to be a transmutation of energy. Venus is coming through to purify where your debts are. Anytime you're having an 8th house transit, that's your debt. Venus coming through does not necessarily mean a good thing. Again, I want to dispel the energy, the idea that Venus is a positive planet, because in many ways she comes through boldly, but she's not necessarily coming through to change anything. She's coming through to rectify the fact that you were hiding things. She's going to bring it to light. That's the 8th house. For Cancer energy, this is your 7th house. That's a hard frequency to deal with when you're dealing with partners, because the scales are being rebalanced. And being that your partners are Saturn ruled, it could be that they're putting the relationship on a timeout. Again, I'm here to dispel the idea that Venus comes in and brings positive. Yes, you're going to be dealing with a lot more feminine energy and a lot more females, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing. She could be coming in with catty talk. She could be coming in with gossipy talk. Venus coming into the 7th house can be a hard transit. So make sure that when you're dealing with people, you're being very careful about the karma that you're putting out into the world, especially when it's female figures.
To add to
rising, especially.
To add into that, because when Pluto goes into their Aquarius, for the next 20 years, Cancers, you're going to have your 8th house in Saturn. So I just want to throw that out because that really matters. So it contributes to what she said. You can kind of put it together.
So for Leo, this is a 6th house transit. That's actually one of the more positive 6th house transits to have Venus come through. It may be that you get awarded with new job responsibilities. You're getting noticed for the job responsibilities that you've had. You could end up getting a new female pet. This is an excellent time to get a new female pet if you don't already have a female pet. Oh, the sun is like telling me it's time to go to bed. And if you have another thing about 6th house, it is your employment, but it is your daily habits. So this is an excellent time to implement new habits, especially like positive realignment habits, like incorporating yoga, incorporating new diet, incorporating, cleaning your room or painting your rooms or painting your house or moving your furniture around your house. Totally a normal thing for a Venus coming through your 6th house. So that's for Leo rising. And then for Virgo rising, this is coming through on the 5th house, right? So there is, this is one of the more positive energies. It's definitely a time for creativity. It's definitely a time for buying new paint supplies, buying new art supplies, buying yourself a new journal, whatever it is that your creative outlet is, lean into that. Also spend more time with children, especially female children, but have more communication and more playtime with kids, because they have blessings to give you. They have good karma to give you. They have good information to give you and more stability to provide for you. And then where am I?
4th house, Libra.
So for Libra energy, this is a 4th house transit, which means that it's about your roots. It's about ancestral energy. It may be that you have more relationships to your aunts, and because aunts are generally ruled by Venus as well as mothers, but Venus for night charts especially, you may have more relationship to ancestral energy, as in like you actually get an account with ancestry.com and then you reconnect and you find you've got all these aunts and these female cousins and you find out more information about your past and your upbringing. But it also can be that you're just beautifying your home and your space. Either way, you're adding to your stabilization, you're adding to your roots in your home network. And then for where was I?
Scorpio, 3rd house.
Thank you. Scorpio, third house. This is a good time to invest in a new car. It's a good time to invest in a new form of transportation. Excellent time to pick up a new journal and write for yourself, write out manifestations. This is an excellent time to be communicating with your neighbors and going above and beyond to make sure that you are bringing that integrity, like for yourself, your Scorpio energy as well, right? So when you have that much frequency happening, there's an energy of needing to rebalance the scale. So it may be that your neighbors borrowed something from you. This is the time to go get that back, because when you do, oh, I'm so sorry about the sunshine. When you do that, you'll be granted reward, and the scales will be even. So say somebody borrowed $20 off you and it's been 6 months, it's likely that they're going to offer you more money because it's in the third house. There is this like communication sector of like you waited patiently. So, and it's a cadent house, right? So it's moving towards something else and helping you invest in your fourth house. And then for
Sag, second house.
Oh, that's right. So this is for us. So it's a highly positive transit for us, looking at supporting your identity, but also helping you learn about what you believe in and what you value, redefining your values. It could be that you, this is an excellent time to do your taxes. If you haven't already done your taxes, this is the time for Sagittarius to catch up with tax stuff like that, because this is money. This is 8th house. Venus reflecting the 8th is really going to provide that energy of like, okay, I'm being responsible. I'm holding up to my end of the bargain, and therefore the universe will reward you. Again, this is a Venus ruled by Saturn. So we are showing up for our karmic receipts. And then for Venus in Capricorn, this is in the first house of body. This is in the first house of identity. You're going to be, it's an excellent time to get a makeover. Excellent time to get a makeover. Excellent time to invest in yourself. This transit doesn't happen but once every 2 years and a bit. So it's due. You're due. It's been a long time. Definitely take up beautifying yourself. And for the masculine Capricorns, highly recommend spending more time with your female counterparts, your female friends, your aunts, your female coworkers, because there's messages there. There's information there and perspective there that you desperately need to incorporate so that you can move forward in a new way. And then, did we go all the way around yet?
Nope. Aqua 12th and Pisces 11th.
Yeah, so Aqua 12, this is something you can't really, you're not going to be able to completely see this. This is behind the scenes. So your best bet is to focus on the metaphysical. It's a great time to buy a new tarot deck. It's a great time to learn about human design. It's a great time to learn about astrology. Pick up something of another foreign way of thinking. If you've ever considered looking into Hinduism or Buddhism, this is the time to pick up those books and learn about a place far away. Learn about something far away. Learn about a metaphysical place far away, but also a physical place far away. And then for Pisces on the 11th, on the Pisces on the 11th, this is a time to spend more time socially and spread yourself out. See if you can invest in communities. If you're comfortable going to church, this is an excellent time looking into finding a church that works for you or another community-based metaphysical connection.
Thank you for that absolute rundown. It's funny because I might have picked up on your thought, because I was like, oh, we should give the little 12 forecast down for them. And then you just did it on your own. I never said anything. So
it's the Pisces. All right, well, I'm going to let you go because it's 2:22 now. That's my go time. And I've got a little one who, like I said, she's a little sick and under the weather. So I'm going to go send her some love. And if everybody could send me some positive vibrations to heal my little Venus in Capricorn, that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you, AstroBrie, for coming up. We'll see you soon, lady. Everybody give her some love in the chat.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, so I'm still here. I'm going to just give y'all a closing message. I want to say thank y'all for being here. Definitely give AstroBrie some love. Go check out her channel. I'm pretty positive I put it in the description. If I did it, sue me and then tell me to put it in the description, and I will. I thought I did. I'm pretty sure I did. that said, definitely want to say this is your AstroShaman Pernell Bobby. We are here generating a world of harmony, all about leveraging astrology, and understand that harmony comes at a shift in perspective. Okay, it comes with being real, looking at what's tangible, seeing the proof. You see the flyer that I put up at the top that's like transform and withdraw with proof. That time that you take to withdraw, that time that you experience melancholy in this Capricorn season, understand that melancholy is not something to rush. You can't move through melancholy, you can't move through the more unknown or sadder feelings and emotions without realizing that it is there, it's in place to help you become more creative. And everything that Brie just said, all right? Everything that Brie just said, she kind of gave you a rundown for each sign individually of how this Venus in Capricorn transit will really support you. I'm a fan of this. Maybe when I was younger, quite frankly, when I first learned about Capricorn, I'd have been like, hey. But that also was the time frame when I was like, I wasn't really ready for what's real. I wasn't ready for reality because it was taking me out of my idealism. It's taking me out of my romanticized vision of the world, my subjective vision of the world. Capricorn is here to give us a very real touch, a very real sense, a very real flavor of everything that has happened throughout the year so far. Earlier this year in January, we went through a Venus Cazimi in Capricorn, okay? And I have videos out there, so just check out Venus Cazimi in Capricorn. And we also went through one in Libra. And AstroBrie came on here and she talked a lot about Libra. She talked a lot about Capricorn. And both of them went through Cazimis. And those are ruled, dignified, and exalted in Saturn, which says this card that I literally just pulled. Is it still on top? Oh, right here. Time. And this word here says discipline. So Capricorn is the type of energy that says that, like, give things time. Give things time. Give reality time to catch up to you on this 3D, on this physical plane, and realize that, like Keisha said, in all good timing, what is for you and what is not for you will be revealed. There's no reason to rush that. And I'm saying that as somebody who has spent a lot of my years rushing things before they were here to come. At this stage, I'm now really accepting and embracing them. Like, no, let things come in their due time. All right. Hey, what's up, guy? Let things come in their due time. They're going to support you. Capricorn is support energy. Saturn is support energy. Cancer is support energy. So let this feminine energy support you. Feminine energy is receptive. It supports. It draws in and magnetizes the things, resources, because a Capricorn is physical. Hey, what's up, my man? It magnetizes the things towards you, okay? You don't have to chase, you attract. You don't have to chase, you attract. I want everybody that's still in the chat real quick say, I don't chase, I attract. I don't chase, I attract. I don't chase, I attract. I want you to literally type that, confirm it, acknowledge it, and tell the universe that you want this. And also understand that the universe has its own timeline and is different and is separate from our egoic timeline. We must understand that this is the time when we come together as a team. This is the time when we have people support our legacy as a unit. Okay, this is the time where we're going above the mountaintop when aqua season comes, and we're going to see from a higher perspective. All right, but really take the time to slow down. Mercury in Capricorn is there right now. It's saying slow down, slow the mind. I've been drinking more like one coffee a week, and that's just because I like coffee. But I've been drinking about one a week, and it's been showing me that, like, rest. I've been resting for like 3-4 months, and this kind of happened through my 12th house transits a couple months ago. It's showing me the benefit of rest rather than pushing. Me learning how to respond and generate energy from a place of purpose, generate energy from a place of, what is realistic, what is efficient. I'm coming in contact with more and more people. I want you to think and apply this to yourself. All right, I'm saying but that's just how I like to personally lead. I like to lead from myself, and then y'all could take what you take from it. I'm having to learn that I am more in my authentic self when I am planning, when I spend more time investigating, when I spend more time researching, so that when the people call on me, when we have, cataclysmic and collective crisis moments, then I can respond because I took the time I took the discipline to research and study and rest and be ready for the call when it is beckoned upon me. When some bozo wants to pull by, I took the time to realize that he is not in integrity. I will massacre you energetically. You will die. Okay, you will energetically and metaphysically evaporate from my presence and from the presence of everyone else that you are impacting negatively, period. But this is coming from a place of, and a sense of security that, like, I know this already. And so I don't need to, the older me would have been like, knock, 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 and go on your front door. But that's chasing. It's not attracting in a way, you know? So, people need to talk about some crypto news, really important. Absolutely. Slow down. That's a good time, okay? I don't chase, I attract. Bam. Thank you for confirming that. And as a final part of this confirmation, understand that you can't expect the universe to deliver what you have verbally confirmed that your actions are not matching. The universe will say, you have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're not ready. You're not being disciplined in your faith. You're not being disciplined and trusting the time that it takes to acquire your resources, love, to tap into your sensitivities and the intuition that is literally in your body that will tingle and warn you and give you a gut instinct and reaction that says, you know, this is a no, or this is a yes, or this is a go, or this is a wait. Or put them in the desert. That junk is the craziest. I swear to God, like I'm cracking myself up when I reflect on that. Because I meant it from my soul. I almost want to go back and see my own reaction in real time and like. And you know what I'm getting from this in the moment is like, be willing to laugh at yourself. You know, like this is what Sagittarius season was teaching us. Sagittarius season was teaching us, like, be willing to laugh at yourself. Be willing to laugh at your experiences and to allow the laughter and the humor and the adventure and the experience of going through something that may cause war. Like, understand Sagittarius is the only Zodiac sign with a weapon, and it is in the cosmic spaces, the collective spaces. So it does not fight humans. This is not me versus some dude named John. This is me versus a demon. Understand what I just said? Like, we have to start recognizing this in the 3D, in the physical reality. It's like, this is me versus a demon. And I can slay demons, but I'm here to serve humans. So this is what we need to, we need to be able to start realizing that these constructs of reality are changing. They are dissipating. And we need to be honest with ourselves, truly, and take the time to really reflect and understand. And Capricorn season is highly introspective. It's highly reflective. And I will take the time, even with knowing that I'm in a safe space within myself, I will take the time to embrace how would I like to move and react in these same situation scenarios as I move forward. So, and understand that through that, be very mindful of ever feeling shameful or guilty based off of old generational narratives that are just outdated. We're being asked, Capricorn is a new, fresh cardinal, aka cardinal earth, cardinal ancestry. Your ancestry is asking you to push forward from here, to not stay stuck where we were. Okay, like this is not the example that really matters in the moment, but it's like, I'm still black and that guy is white. 30 years ago, our ancestors saying 30 years ago, I could never do that, even if that was right. But today I can. So it's asking us to take the gifts, not to overexert, not to step too far out of the boundaries, to stay disciplined enough, okay, to give things time, and to literally crucify people when it's time, okay, but also to chill out and rest and let them have their day when it's time. And also let them, you know, understand that retribution will come on time. All right? It's demons. That's why I don't like to put hands on it. Absolutely. It's true. It's true. I would have had to put the gloves on. I would have had to treat him like the Popo, put the black gloves on. What's up, Eleanor? How you doing, girl? Oh, P, I missed it. P is laughing hard. Yo, man. Somebody timestamp that if you see it, man. That junk. You gotta go back and check that out. I know, man. That junk was just so funny. Yeah, the desert is up the front. Yo, bro, I'm in Mexico, okay? The desert is right outside the city. Understand. I'm in Mexico, okay? I live in the desert. I'm in desert weather. Like, I can be outside. I can go on the roof right now and take my shirt off and go sunbathe, and I do it every day. And this is winter. This is winter time. So, we're in the desert. All right. I'm just having fun at this point. But, listen, I got my men's group later. For all my ladies on here, or my men, if you know a fella, if you know a gentleman, you know an uncle, you know a brother, you know a father who needs some masculine support, and just to be able to start sharpening iron versus iron, I want you to go ahead and tell them to check out my link. I mean, I got the same one. It's the first link. All right, my Astro memberships. I do run memberships for men. All right. I wish I'm freezing. I do run memberships for men, so I got that today. We run it once a month. So today's the day. I have that in like, I don't know, a couple hours. Tomorrow we do have Gemini Brown and the Peace Stealer. We're gonna be meeting on the Peace Stealer's channel. So stay tuned for that. That's tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central Time. Okay, we're gonna be on the Peace Stealer's channel, not this channel. The Peace Stealer's channel, not this channel. So check that. We're gonna talk about the prejudice of Capricorn and Cancer. So we talked a little bit about that. This is the season, so we're right in flow. All right, so check that there. And understand again, it's not my channel, right? I don't know how to timestamp, but whoever knows. There's another part of my 10th house Capricornian self is like, yeah, let's just hope that we were in a void. Let's not even timestamp it. Let's just, if you were here, you were here. Let's forget about it. We don't want that, because you know how they do this. You know how they try to take out public figures, right? Like somebody's gonna record 10 seconds of exactly that clip of a demon getting crucified. That's what will happen, right? And they'll forget that this video was 2 hours and 36 minutes and 12 seconds long, and they're gonna be like, well, here's this 12 seconds of this demon getting crucified. So let's not timestamp it. Let's just keep it. Let's keep it between ourselves. If you were here, you were here. If you weren't, you weren't. Too bad. All right, Dreamer Shireen, her and I are coming up with a live soon. All right, this is my dream coach. I've been working with her. We did a lot of work in the Astro. Looking forward to the live tomorrow. We did a lot of work in the Astro, and if you're looking for dream support, she's the lady. Go ahead, check her profile. YouTube is really building for her, so don't judge the book by its cover. Understand that I am literally vouching for her. Like, I rock with her on the dream space. That said, I think we got everybody a great Christmas gift for you. Oh, and I want to say shout out to Secret for buying me this elemental deck that has supported us today. All right, with the images that you see here. So shout out to her. She gave me this book when we were working together back in Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas. So I want to say thank you to Secret for that gift. It continues to be of tremendous value. I get more and more connected to these cards. I actually did a whole ritual with them, but different story. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Hit the thumbs up, okay? Let people know about this video if you're rocking, you're vibing with it. I'll see you tomorrow for the Peace Stealer and Gemini Brown on the Prejudice series. It's number 2 out of 6. Every Sunday, the third one will go on Gemini Brown channel. And then finally, all right, if you're looking to learn more about astrology, we've got the Astro Divinity memberships. All right. This is your Astro Shaman, Pernell Bobby, and we are generating a world of harmony, leveraging astrology. Ladies and gentlemen, this is such a pleasure.